All right, welcome to the Yahsinni and Tazz Show. Um, Today we're going to be going over a little bit of information, hopefully to help people. And inflation is high, bills is killing. I found the way of basically getting rid of all everyone's bills. So I'm gonna try to share it with y'all. So hopefully y'all can get some remedy and get some relief. I was going to show receipts, but I decided not to because I really didn't want to run the risk of putting any of my private information out there. But try it for yourself. You'll have your own receipts. I'm going to start off by saying that this is for informational purposes only. I am not a lawyer. I do not practice law. Please do not call me if you get into a bind. If you call me before it, I might look it over and try to help you. But I am not a lawyer. This is not lawful information. I do tell everyone to go ahead and do your own research. Like everything I'm going to tell you, everything I'm going to talk about, you should go through. You should read it. You should look it up. You should familiarize yourself with it. So
Peace, love, and salutations to the family. We're here one more again. This time, if you remember the last time, at least for me, I'm gonna speak for self. I can't speak for nobody else. The brother blew my mind. So today, I brought my pen. I brought my paper. I'm gonna be taking notes. I suggest you do so. I appreciate the brother for joining us once again. And as always, we have the Empress, the goddess herself, Yahsinni in the house. So we're gonna start off with ladies first. And sis, can you tell the people who you are, where they can find you at?
Absolutely. I am Yahsinni of Yahsinni in the House, my YouTube channel, my main YouTube channel. My backup YouTube channel is Yahsinni University. I also have an online jewelry store called Yahsinni University LLC, where you can find my jewelry online store called Simply Stoned. And you can also find Tazz Studio Productions and all the work that he does, including sell health items, t-shirts, books, and a lot of stuff on there, games, and go check it out, YahsiniUniversity.com. Peace. Facebook, Denise Grant.
Appreciate that, sis. Appreciate you so much. We're gonna go in deep with this subject today. We are going today with how to free yourself from legal tyranny, the UCC connection. Now, as the brother has already stated, let me just make sure that for those that didn't hear, for those that are hard of hearing or like to make up shit afterwards, let me throw a little disclaimer out there for y'all, okay? So, the material and information that this is not a PowerPoint, but it's going to be some PowerPoint information brought up, all right? So, contained in this PowerPoint is general information purposes only. You should not rely upon the material or information about to be presented as a basis for making any business, legal, or any other decision. The Tazz Show and its affiliates are not, I repeat, we are not legal advisors or consultants. Also, please make consultation with a certified legal advisor, like a lawyer, for future advice. All contents, including tips and suggestions, is entirely based on research and data available on the internet. As the brother Shawn is going to be able to show today, that this is something that is out there for everybody to find, all right? So it is advised not to construe it as professional legal advice and consult a lawyer before making any financial decisions. We appreciate y'all for being here. We love y'all. We know that you guys stay true to being around when we want you guys. So we appreciate you guys being here. Um, with that said, let me take the disclaimer off. We're gonna come back here. And brother, thank you for gracing us once again with your presence. How have you been? What has changed throughout the last couple of months? I think it's been about a month and a half, right?
Yeah,
About
it's been a couple months. A lot of clarification on some of the false information that's going around. Like it's a lot of information out there, and just really just getting receipts. Um, Bill free completely. My mom will be bill free completely next month. My sister will be bill free completely next month. And if you watch this and you study, you could be bill free completely next month. So, free completely next month. And,
That's the best thing I've heard all year.
mhm.
most definitely, most definitely, most definitely. So that's a hell of a way to get started because as everybody knows, I mean, listen, it's hard out there.
It's
Everything
hard.
and anything is it's expensive. It's gonna get
Inflation.
you know.
Hmm.
Rent's gonna keep going up. Gas is gonna keep going up. Food's gonna keep going up. All these things are gonna continue to go up. So maybe you could get some information that you could go back and research. Do not believe nothing that you're told. Go back and research it for yourself so that you could give yourself the sense of security to know that you've done your diligence, yeah, diligence, and you've come up with the conclusion on your own that this is actually something that you want to look into. All right. So before we do that, let me address the first people that are here. We have Tribe Guys in the building. He said Islam, peace and love, brother Islam, back to you. Uh, Yassini's in the house as well. Nathaniel Bay is in the house. He says peace. Uncle Gary's in the house. Shalom, family. Shalom, brother. Shalom. Great to have you here. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for being such a faithful follower, brother. I'm really impressed at your loyalty. So with that said, salutes to you. But Sean, where do we start? What do you think will be a good starting point?
Um, I wanted to start by just start by talking about sovereignty, like what sovereignty really is. I feel like when I look into the information, that's the biggest cloud around like actual information.
Right?
Sovereignty is basically just being alive in the United States. If you're a living human being, you're a sovereign. That's pretty much. Um, Shifting into public and private, the only thing that's different, private is any living human being. Anything that you do, you're doing it privately. Public is anything involving a corporation. So anything that you do corporate rise, that's public. Um, you don't have to pick which one. You know what I'm saying? You are giving the ability to work in the public and the private from birth with your first business, your first legal entity, your first legal business, which is your straw man. Um, the straw man is private because it's owned by a private person, but it was given to you to be able to conduct commerce with other businesses and other corporations. Most people learn business, they don't really learn commerce. A lot of the stuff that I'm going to talk about, you can do with any business. It's meant to be done with business. The Uniform Commercial Code is where we're going to be getting the majority of this from. The Uniform Commercial Code is everywhere. It's in China, it's in Russia, it's anywhere where people use commercial money or paper money. The Uniform Commercial Code governs how they move and what they do. Um, Go ahead, Ted. You got a question?
Yeah, quick question, because just to add value, now that you've mentioned the fact that it's everywhere, so that means that when we go to per se Brazil, if we go to China, if we go to Europe, What would you call them, laws or
Yeah, it's the same money system. It's the Uniform Commercial Code. Just it governs commercial commerce. So
okay,
anywhere there's commercial commerce, that's the law governing.
okay,
So anywhere you go in the world that has paper money is governed by the Uniform Commercial Code.
which is every okay, okay,
Yep.
continue, brother. Yeah, I wanted to make that clear for the
For
family. We
everybody.
have PNF in the building. Peace and love to the God. Thank you for joining us, brother. But go ahead,
So
brother.
um when dealing with businesses and corporations, you don't want to tell them the federal code. You want to tell them your state code. Each state has adapted their own version of the Uniform Commercial Code. All you have to do is search your state law statute, and then search whatever the name of the code is, and it'll pull it up. The code I'm going to be using today is going to be the Tennessee code because I'm in Tennessee, so you'll be able to see some of the Tennessee statutes. It's universal, so it's everywhere, anyways. But um, okay, so the first thing I wanted to get into is the understanding of money and what money actually is, not what we've been taught that money is, but what money actually is. If you look at a dollar bill or a $5 bill or a $10 bill, 20, 100, any dollar bill is it's a Federal Reserve note. A Federal Reserve note is a promissory note. A promissory note is nothing but a promise to pay. It's an IOU from the government. It's credit. They started this system because back in the day you actually had to carry a pouch full of gold coins. When you would be traveling, you can get robbed, you can lose your whole savings. So instead of doing that, you could take your gold coins, you can go to the bank, you can give them your gold coins or your silver coins, and they'll give you Federal Reserve notes back. And then you can travel with these Federal Reserve notes. You can spend these Federal Reserve notes, and then whoever has the Federal Reserve notes, they can write it over, they can assign it, or you can give it to someone else, and then they can spend it just like cash. So now that we kind of have an understanding of where the money system that we are today, I want you to kind of I don't know if you ever heard of negotiable instruments, but negotiable instruments are money, and money is negotiable instruments. They're the same thing. Money is paper given value by a living, breathing person. The Federal Reserve doesn't have to sign it because they have the Federal Reserve wrote across it. That's a signature. Whenever you get your bill and it says Federal Reserve note across the top, that's the signature of the Federal Reserve. That's their signature. So that's why this money can be assigned to different people. I can give you $5. You already know what to do with it. You already know how to conduct yourself with this $5. So now that we have a understanding of the money, what are negotiable instruments? Negotiable instruments are checks, they're money orders, promissory notes, their leases, their mortgages, their any package of paper that has an amount written on the face of it that you have to sign and endorse. That's a negotiable instrument. It's value. It's the same as money. It's the same as cash. It's value. So, all right. Let me share my. Can I share my screen real quick, Tazz?
Go ahead, brother.
Can everybody see that? Can you see it good? Do I need to blow it up or anything?
No, you can see it.
We good. All right. So
Yeah.
this is the Tennessee Code govern commercial instruments. This is pretty much everything. It tells you everything to do with commerce. It walks you through step by step. It walks you through everything. So we're going to start with negotiable instruments.
You see that little bar at the bottom where it says hide. Click that hide button so that thing gets out of the way.
See.
Yeah, there we go.
Cool.
Perfect.
Definitions. I do advise you to go through and read some of these so you can find out what negotiable instruments actually are. What an order is, this tells you what an order is, tells you what a party is, tells you what a promise. Promise means a written undertaking to pay money signed by a person undertaking the payment.
Yeah, you should make that one a little bigger, brothers, just so the people could see the letters.
Uh,
It's Control Plus. There we go.
that better?
Yeah, much better. Yeah, perfect, perfect. My apologies.
All right. What am I looking for? Remitter means a person who purchases an instrument from its issuer if the instrument is payable to an identified person other than the purchaser. That's how you're going to be taking care of your debt through a remittance payment. I'm going to go more into that here in a second. I just wanted to show you a couple of the definitions so you can see. Definitely go check that out. Except as provided in section C and D, negotiable instrument means an unconditional promise to pay or order to pay a fixed amount of money or with or without interest or other charges described in the promise to pay. If it is payable to the bearer, okay, so there's for people who know what checks are, well, everyone knows what checks are, not to say people who know what checks are, but people who are used to using checks. If you had a check, I could write a check to you. You can then take that check and sign it over to someone else. They can then take that check and sign it to someone else, and then that person can go and cash the check. The check was money. So when you have a check, you have to sign it on the back. You have to endorse it with your name. So if you a check made out to bearer is just basically a check made out to cash, made out to deposit, just any not made out to a specific person. Like so, if you make a check out to cash, it's made out to bearer. It's payable on demand or at a definite time. Majority of credit is payable instantly. So go through this. I'm not going to read all through the negotiable instruments of what they are. I do tell you to go through it and read so you can get a firm grasp of what negotiable instruments are. Because the whole system, all money is negotiable instruments. It's commercial paper. It's all negotiable instruments. And once you find out how to use negotiable instruments, you can operate in commerce. All right, now I'm gonna go back to that, but I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and I'm gonna talk for a little bit more, and then I'll go back to sharing the screen in a minute. Let me stop screen. All right, so now let's talk about how the system how the system pretty much works. All right, so let's say you want to buy a car. So you go into the car dealer, um, you tell them that you want to buy a car. They tell you okay. They let you drive it. You take the car out. You go test drive it. You come back and you tell them that you want to purchase this car. Okay, so now you want to purchase this car. What they're going to do, they're going to print up a bunch of paperwork with a bunch of legal jargon and a bunch of stuff on it, and they're going to give this paperwork to you. It's nothing but paper when they give it to you. On this paperwork, it's going to say, okay, you bought this car for $50,000. The term of this car is going to be 5 years, and you're going to have to pay $700 a month per each year. That's going to be the interest off this payment, right? So you sign it, you give it to them. You take the car, you drive off, you go home. You just got a new car. You didn't pay anything for it. So now you're driving it around. In about a month, they send you a bill. You take the bill. You see the bill just says, hey, that I owe this money. So you keep the bill, and then you make the payment like you're supposed to. Well, you weren't supposed to keep the bill and make the payment. So since you kept the bill and you made the payment, you incurred the liability of the debt. So contract law. No other law governs what's inside a contract but a contract. And inside a contract, there's obligations. The obligation there's an obligation of a buyer and there's an obligation of a seller. The obligation of the buyer is to produce value. The obligation of the seller is to produce goods. So I'm a buyer. I want to buy a sandwich. I go up. I give them value. I give them a $5 bill. They give me the goods. They give me a sandwich, right? So when you start understanding contract law, you'll start kind of understanding what's going on in the system. So now when you go in and they give you the stack of paper because you want to purchase the car. They give you the stack of paper, right? The stack of paper is a negotiable instrument. If you go into majority of your the stuff that you signed up for, majority of the contracts that you signed up for, if you go in and you start reading the print, you'll see somewhere on there where it says a promissory note or unconditional promise to pay or something like that. It's because once you sign it, it becomes a negotiable instrument. Whatever the face value of it, it's the value of that instrument. So go ahead.
So it's not so much their paperwork is the negotiable instrument, but it's what leads to the document being a negotiable instrument once you put your
Once you put
signature.
your signature on it, once you sign it, it becomes value. You give it value
So it's your signature that makes it value.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just like, no, you can't cash a check unless it's signed. You can pass it around all day if it's not signed. If it has a name on it to someone it's supposed to go to, and that person hasn't signed it, that check is useless. But as soon as they sign it, you can go and you can cash that check.
That's right. That's
It's just
right.
a negotiable instrument.
Okay.
So so they give you the paper. You take the paper, you put all your personal information on it. You put your name, you put your social, you put your address, you put your phone number, you put all your personal information on this note. At the time of you signing it, this note has the value of what's on the face of it. Right? So you take this note and you give it to the car dealer. If you look on any of your contracts and you look for the collateral section and you actually read what the collateral to this contract is, it's going to say something like benefit payments or interest or social security payments. It's going to say something like that, right? You pledge the car as the collateral. The car isn't the collateral. You pledge the car as the collateral. If you read through the contract, it's going to say somewhere in that contract that you give this bank security interest in the vehicle. You give this bank security interest in the home. You give this bank security interest in the phone. You give them security interest in the actual thing, but it's paid for as soon as you give them the value. The negotiable instrument pays for the debt. But since you didn't read fully through the contract, you give them security interest in your car or your home. Studying contract law will teach you that everything is negotiable. You can alter contracts. You can cross things out. You can add things to it. Any contract, any contract, you can change contract. You can change it. You can alter it. So
After it's been agreed upon by both parties.
but before, once they give it to you, they've given you their terms. You can write your terms down and you sign it for value. And once they accept it, per the UCC offer and acceptance, they accept it. Once you give it to them, it's accepted. If they don't return it to you, then it's accepted. But I think it's called look up the Contract Act. The Contract Act will explain contracts and how to deal with contracts. What you can do, you can amend them, you can add paperwork to them, you can change them, you can do a lot with contracts. And since the entire system works off negotiable instruments and contracts, you should look into contracts, you should look into business law, you should look into negotiable instruments. So it's going to be like the most important things you want to learn to deal with this system. So after you've given them the contract back, you've signed it, you give the contract back to them. It's now value. But since you didn't defer any liability, you actually accepted the liability, you pledged the car to them if the payments aren't due, if the payments aren't paid. So now, let's say you get your first bill. What is a bill? A bill it's a document, a title showing ownership, right? Because it's your account. In any account, any credit card, an account is by definition just an extension of credit. It's your account. An account is an extension of credit. So to get access to this account, you have to give your personal name, your personal address, you have to give your personal date of birth, and you have to give your personal social security number. The only people who can get access to this account is people who furnish that information, that's private information, to you. I'm gonna go under. It's really called a bill of lading. I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna show some more definitions when we go inside when I go back inside the UCC, because I need to get you to understand what a documented title is, and kind of see what a documented title is, so you can understand that when you get a bill in the mail, the bill in the mail it's not a bill. It's always positive. It's a payment to you. It's a payment. It's a payment. The bill that they send you is a payment. It's always positive. Even if you go in a negative, if your account is in a negative and they send you a bill, your account will still be in a positive. So it's a payment to you. Uh, let's go back. Can I share my screen again, Taz?
Go for it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, so we're back here. Where is the bill? Remember, all this will be in your own state code too. Just search your state and search transfer funds, and it'll pull up your state code, or search letters of credit, or all of them. These are all different negotiable instruments. I'm going to document a title. What's this one? Chapter definitions. All right, I'm gonna read a couple of these definitions for you. A bailee means a person that by a warehouse receipt, bill of lading, that's what a bill is. A warehouse receipt is an actual receipt, or other documents of title acknowledges possession of goods and contracts to deliver them. Carrier means a person that issues a bill of lading. So all of your bill, they're carriers. I'm not gonna read all of them. Good faith, goods. Goods means all things that are treated as movable for the purposes of a contract or storage or transportation. So everything is done in goods. You're purchasing goods. The issuer is just basically the person who issues it. It's the same as the bailee. The person entitled under the document means the holder, meaning an entitlement holder. Once they send you a document in the mail and you receive that document, you become the entitlement holder. You become the person that's in control of that document. Go through this, read up a little couple more of the definitions on bills.
And
It's
all these could be found in their own state. You said, right?
Yeah, it could be. You can either search the Norman UCC, or you can search your state. Um, when I get into showing you what actually you have to do with a bill, you're going to want to send your state code. You're not going to want to send the UCC federal code. So for purpose of studying, you can study the UCC or you can study your state code. But when you're sending it, you want to send the state code. You don't want to send the federal code.
Okay. Okay. Right.
Negotiable or non-negotiable documents of title. If a document doesn't say non-negotiable across the top, then it's negotiable. What does that mean?
Mm.
Meaning any bill sent to you is negotiable. You can negotiate the price. You can negotiate if you want to pay it. You can negotiate pretty much everything under a contract,
Damn.
and it's all in here. It's all public knowledge. It's all about if you look it up or not. If you want to read it, and not even if you want to read it, if you understand it. Negotiation and transfer. I don't want to go to that one. That's not the one I wanted to go to. Okay. 'Cause- 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 'cause-
Nathaniel Bay has a question while you're looking for that.
All right, let me, because it don't show me the screen when it's gone. Where's the question?
Oh, he said, what's the difference between federal and state when it comes to the code?
Federal is the top code. It's the federal government, but state is closer to us. So every state is going to take the federal code and put it into their own codes. So it's all the same. It's pretty much the same. It's just it's about jurisdiction, right? If you're dealing with a state, the state has jurisdiction over the federal government. So if I'm dealing with somebody in the state, I want to send them a state code. If you're dealing with a federal government, you want to send them a federal code. It just depends on if you don't know which one, you can put both. Like both the codes will be the same. All you got to put is it'll be Tennessee Code 47-3-28, and it'll be 12 USC whatever. You just put both of them in there. It's just codes. All codes are adapted by everybody, so the codes really don't matter. All right, so this is the part governing a transfer of instruments and the rights acquired by the transfer of instrument. This is going to be the code that you use to get rid of your bills. An instrument is transferred when it is delivered by a person on other than its issuer for the purpose of giving to the person receiving delivery the rights to enforce the instrument. What that means is it's transferred upon you giving the instrument to someone else who can enforce the instrument. Who can enforce the instrument? The company you signed the contract with.
Yes.
Any bank can enforce any instrument. People don't use banks the way you're supposed to use banks. We the people are the credit. Like you're the original credit. So when you give them the negotiable instrument, what they do, they're supposed to credit this to their account, and then they're supposed to give you the consideration for it. The consideration for it would be the payments that you end up paying each month. They're supposed to pay that to you. But if you don't authorize them to release that consideration, you acquire the liability on that, and then you end up paying it each month because you go into dishonor, and then you have to make the note. So it's as simple as just transferring your rights over to someone. Like it's really quite simple once you understand how negotiable instruments actually work. All right, so transfer of an instrument, whether or not the transfer is negotiable, vest in the transferee any right of the transferor to enforce the instrument. That's basically just saying that when you transfer them, you give them all the rights that you have to enforce the payment of this instrument, including any right as a holder in due course. But the transferee cannot acquire rights of a holder in due course by transfer directly or indirectly from a holder in due course if the transferee engages in fraud. So basically, if anything's fraud, then in any contract, if there's fraud, then the contract is immediately void. Any contract is void. If you can prove fraud, it's immediately void.
How?
No. Uh,
Uh,
Proven
Fraud is
fraud.
pretty broad.
I know that's what makes it beautiful because you can defraud me in a whole bunch of different ways. You don't really even have to really prove fraud. It's more, do they want to assume the liability that's going to come with me suing you for this fake fraud?
So you're saying they're all fake? I mean, they're all
Okay,
fraud.
so every contract at its core is fraud. Just because they're not telling you what they're really doing. When they get the negotiable instrument, this instrument is supposed to be accredited to the bank's books as an asset, which also creates a liability. The liability is the bill, the liability is the interest, the liability is supposed to be paid to you. It's consideration that's supposed to go to you. But the only like the hook of that is the only way you really can pay this bill is with the interest made from this bill. So they're gonna take money. You give them the note. They take this note. They take a 1099. They take the money out of your Social Security account and they put it in escrow. So the $30,000 for this car is sitting in the escrow account. and this escrow account is gaining interest at whatever rate is on that negotiable instrument. They're telling you the rate of interest that's going to be gained on this money that's sitting in escrow, right? So since you assume liability, you pay and they keep the money. They keep the money, and after 6 years, they assign it to the treasury, and it goes to the public debt. So if you tell them to release this interest, they'll start paying your bills with this interest. It'll start offsetting the debt for you. You actually have to tell them to do it. If you don't tell them to do it, then you're a debtor, you're incompetent, and you don't know what you're doing. So you assume liability. Contract is all about liability. It's all about obligations and liability. Everyone has an obligation. Everyone has a liability. You can transfer obligations. You can transfer liabilities. If you choose to hold a liability, then you pay. If you choose to transfer the liability, then you don't pay. All right. So unless otherwise agreed, if an instrument is transferred for value and the transferee does not become holder in due course of lack of endorsement by the transferor, meaning that if you want them to become the holder in due course of the instrument that you send them, you have to endorse it. You have to sign it with your name. The transferee has a specific enforceable right to the unqualified endorsement of the transferor, but negotiation of the instrument does not occur until the endorsement is made. So you have to sign it. Technically, every bill you get, when they send you the bill, this bill is wrong. This bill is supposed to be endorsed by a living, breathing person, the CFO or the head of the financial institution or someone like that. They're supposed to sign this bill, giving you their rights to you to make you the holder in due course. They're not doing that. So off that, you can reject the contract by just sending it back and saying, hey, you didn't endorse this contract properly, so I'm not paying it until you send me an endorsed contract.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't even worry about it. That's just extra. If a transferor purports to transfer less than the entire instrument, negotiation of the instrument does not occur. The transferee obtains no rights under this chapter and has only the rights of a partial assignee. What that basically means is if you only assign part of the instrument, then only part of it gets paid. So if you assign it bill by bill by bill, you're only assigning that bill. You're only giving them that bill. You're going to have to do it every month. If you assign the entire instrument, then they'll just pay it for you. You don't have to continue to deal with it. You don't have to continue to go back and forth with them.
Damn.
Sean, so what you're saying is that if I go buy a car right now, the so-called quote-unquote bill that I'm gonna get is not a bill. It's an actually payment and a payment source that's gonna be paying the bill for me.
Yep. I bought a car at the end of January. I haven't made a payment on it. It's in my garage right now, and in a couple months, I'm gonna buy something. Yeah. Yeah, it's getting real interesting. Like it's gonna get really, really, really interesting. I mean, just once you ain't gotta pay bills, most of people's hardships is bills. Once you no longer have to worry about paying these bills, once you actually learn how to avoid liability on all bills, that means you would never have to pay bills again in your life. You just transfer it. So it's beautiful. I've been jumping up and down. I've been getting calls all weekend about from my different bills telling me that they got my stuff and they processes it and it's disappearing. It's just gone. It's all right. So let's go to endorsement. This talks about endorsement. Endorsement is just a signature, tells you who the endorser is, and it just basically tells you what your endorsement does to the instrument. This teaches you about like special endorsements in blank, and talks about giving your rights. Every time you sign something, you should either be avoiding liability or you should be signing as a patient.
I'm sorry. I feel your pain, bro. I'm not even gonna try to spell you or pronounce your damn name, but I'm there with you, sitting right, probably not next to you, but I'm right there with you. So I'm paying attention. Write it down.
Yeah,
Get
after I
it.
get done, I open up for some questions so some people can ask some questions.
Right.
It's a lot. You gotta learn. You gotta unlearn what you've learned about money, and you
Fact.
gotta learn what
Yeah.
money really is, how money really goes, what the economy really is. You gotta learn this. They teach they teach business. They don't teach commerce. Commerce is in the laws. Business is a portion of commerce. So if you go and you get a business degree, they're going to teach you business, but they're not going to teach you commerce. They're not going to teach you. You don't have to pay your bills, the bills of your business. You don't have to pay it. You can assign it to a bank to pay it for you. No business should ever go under.
So you keep saying assign it to a bank.
Mm-hmm.
So the bank doesn't have a choice whether they're gonna pay that bill or not.
Not really. Not really. I mean, they do, but not really. Everything has a finite amount of time of doing it, and majority of the time when you assign it, you're going to assign it to a bank that's already holding the note, so they already have one obligation. So now if you want to get paid, bitch, you finna release
Oh,
this money, like, or you not finna get, you finna hold that you finna hold that liability on your books. And then when you have to report it to the comptroller, or when you have to report it to the secretary of state, your books are going to be off, and they're going to come looking at you like, what's going on? Right? If they try to sue you, any case, all you got to do is put your rights, put your assignment of rights into that case. That case will go away. This is no longer my liability. That's what I've been telling people. This is no longer my obligation. This is your obligation. Don't call me no more. Don't call my phone ever again. I don't want to hear from you unless it has something to do with the law. And then it needs to be through certified mail. Like, don't call my phone. Don't call my private information. Don't do none of that. So it's just about assigning.
So what you're saying is that in its entirety and reality, the system was actually built to work for us, not against us.
Yup. It's all built for your benefit. You just don't know how to use it. Everything is built for your benefit.
Okay,
Everything.
now the brother Anthony, I know that it's something that you've gone into at the beginning, but for the sake of people that are just walking in, the brother Anthony says, do you have to be in your private status to use this process to buy things or pay bills?
No, you're already in your private status. A living breathing person is private. They gave you your straw man so you can function in the public. You can't do anything in the public. You're always private. Everything you do is private. Everything in the public is your straw man. That's why I gave it to you. You need it to function in the public. When an officer pulls you over and he asks for ID, he's not asking for your ID. He's asking for your straw man's ID. When you start running your straw man as a business, you will register yourself as an agent. You take control over the name. You become the registered agent of the straw man, and then you answer differently. When they call you, you don't identify yourself. You identify yourself as the agent. It's Shawn Sims here. I'm his agent and authorized representative.
hmm
It completely changes the conversation. If a
and
bill
you
collector
speak in
calls
their
you,
language, and you
huh?
speak in their language to them, so they know.
If a bill collector calls you and you tell them that you're the registered agent, they're going to be like, do I have you on the account? Like it's go. They're going to be like, they're not expecting you to understand this stuff, because if you're incompetent, then you're incompetent, and majority of people are incompetent. So just, I'm trying to find the rules on offer and acceptance. This is what I'm looking for right
So
now.
a living being cannot represent the persona. It could only represent the living entity that.
You're, yeah, you're the credit. You're the credit behind it. You're the CEO. You're the force. They made it for your benefit.
Right.
The system works correctly. You work incorrectly.
Fact. Okay. Okay. That's the.
All right, let's look into value. What value means? What the UCC discusses value as. Except as otherwise provided in Chapter 3, 4, and 5 of this title, a person gives value for rights if the person acquires them, in return for a binding commitment to extend credit, or for the extension of immediately available credit, whether or not drawn upon, or whether or not a chargeback is performed in the event of difficulties in collecting. a security for, or in the total or partial satisfaction of a pre-existing claim by accepting delivery upon the pretext contract for purchase or in return for any consideration sufficient to the support of a simple contract. That is what value is. A value is once you sign it and you give it back to them, you give them value. You provide them with value.
Mm.
Where is
Woo! We only 45 minutes in and already, Shawn. Damn it.
Yeah. Um, I'm ready for a couple
Woo!
of those.
All right, this is performance or acceptance under the rights. All right. A party that with explicit reservations of rights performs or promises to perform or assent to perform in any manner demanded or offered by the other party does not thereby fuck, I had a brain fart I smoked earlier. I'm gonna pronounce it wrong. Prejudice the rights reserved such words as without prejudice, under protest, or like the such. So that's basically if you sign anything, there's multiple ways that you can avoid liability when signing. You can sign without prejudice, which I just fucked that word up, but you got it. You can sign without prejudice. You can sign without recourse.
Yes.
I wouldn't sign UCC 1308. I wouldn't sign that anymore. Like you need to actually write the words out, or you sign your name and you write agent, and then you write your all caps name below it, so they understand that you're working as agent for the all caps name. That's how I sign my stuff. I sign my name and then I write agent, and then yeah, you can write
Okay.
without prejudice.
So
And,
this is my rent lease. Look at it. It's so fucking vague. But yeah,
mhm.
all it really wanted me to know is that my rent just went up $80, and they're forcing me into another lease, or I gotta move. Right?
Mhm.
All right, I'll sign the motherfucker. I'll sign it without prejudice.
Did
And
you turn it in? Or did you turn it in to them already?
no, I haven't.
Turn
What
it
you?
in to them. When they give you your receipt, just sign it back to them. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna show you how to do the assignment and everything.
All right, all
Sign it,
right.
give it to them. They're gonna take it. They're gonna give you a receipt. More than likely, when dealing with like leases and stuff, you should find which banking institution is with them, because the only issue with this is you need to send it to someone who knows what you're talking about, who knows what they're doing. If you send it to just a random person, I mean, law is law, so ignorance of the law is not an effect. Everything is enforceable once you learn how to enforce it. But if I was doing it with my lease, I would read the lease and see if the lease was owned by a bank. More than likely, it's going to be owned by a bank, and just assign it over to that bank.
And they're gonna do what?
They're going to release the interest and pay it
They're gonna pay my rent every month.
every month for as long as you stay there. Well, you're going to have to redo it when your lease is up. You'll have to sign another lease. There's no guarantee that that company is going to sign another lease with you. But for any lease that you get, for any mortgage that you get,
Mm.
any bill that you get, assign the rights to someone else. They assume the obligation. They have to pay on it.
All right, so the debt becomes theirs is over, or it's always
That
theirs.
the debt doesn't become theirs. The obligation becomes the obligation. The obligation to settle the debt becomes theirs. So
Uh,
the debt continues to be yours, but they're obligated to settle the debt. So you are not liable anymore. So they can't collect from you. They can't put it on your credit report. They can't come after you because you've transferred the obligation.
okay.
It's kind of yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I'll be trying to explain it to people when they be looking at me like, "What the hell?" All
Go
right,
ahead, brother, go
yeah,
ahead.
I'm trying to find. This talks about the evidence. This is basically tells you that a document and title is evidence that it's yours. This is just when I send it to you, it's evidence. Like you're the holder in due course. It's yours. I'm trying to find offer and acceptance, because offer and acceptance is very powerful. Just understanding Well, forget fine. I'll just explain it. Offer and acceptance in a nutshell. If I hand something to you, when you don't hand it back, you accept it.
Mm,
If I send something to you in the mail and you don't send it back, you accept it.
mm.
If I send you a contract in the mail and ask for a signature and you sign for that contract, you accept it. You accept everything in that contract. You accept any indebtedness. You accept any performance, any obligations on that contract. That's offering acceptance. So what I'm saying that for is so you understand that once you do this and you send it to them per the state codes that you can read and you can it's paid. You don't have to pay anymore. They can't. They're I had 3 companies continue to try to get money from me after they received my paperwork, and I just answered and told them that this isn't my obligation. Don't call me no more, or I'm gonna start suing you. And they was like, "Hey, we have a letter here from you." Yeah, I know you got a letter from me because I got the receipt right here saying that you got the letter from me. And then I didn't hear nothing else from them. After that point, notate my account. Don't call me. I take all my consent to all communications other than mail. You have to send me something. Don't call my phone. Don't do none of that. And once I called them and straightened it out, it was straight. Goes away. It's really quite
So,
simple.
so either they know what's happening, or
They know what's happening.
what was scared them. No, say to the layman who don't really be knowing shit. They're just in there doing the job, as usual every day. They don't really know anything.
Hmm.
That's the person who you
You
scared.
don't want to talk to him. You don't
Okay.
want to talk to him.
All right. So you want to go
Yeah,
above
you
the
don't
head.
want to send
All
shit to
right.
him. You don't
Okay.
want to sit there and argue. You don't want to. The law is the law, and you have to follow it regardless to if you know you got to follow it or not. I don't. I'm. That's a waste of your time and your energy. Send it straight to the CFO.
Damn.
He's gonna know. Send it straight to the CFO. If he doesn't know, he's gonna find out because he's gonna take it to his law firm, and they're gonna find out. So you send it to the shakers and movers. If you go into a bank and you try to do this with a bank, don't walk up to the teller. They're not gonna know. They're gonna look at you like you're crazy. They might call the cops on you. You need to talk to the person over the bank. You need to talk to the main person who has to follow GAAP regulations, who has to follow the Fair Lending Act. This person knows these. He has to follow these. He knows what these laws are. So he knows he might act stupid, right? If you don't know, he doesn't have to tell you. He doesn't have to let you know that he knows. But if you know what you're talking about, he has to follow the law. So if you send this to somebody and they send it back and say, "Hey, this is unlawful," regardless to if you believe it or not, it's the law, bro. This is not unlawful, and you're not a lawyer. You cannot make a legal determination. So the next thing you finna get is an affidavit with a fee schedule saying that if you don't release this, then I'm finna attack you with this $1 million or this $2 million or this 3 million. I'm finna hit city with it's like three something. I'm finna hit them with like if they got to the 24th to pay off my credit card, and if they don't pay that credit card, I'm finna hit them with a $3 million loan lien.
So what you're
Technically,
saying,
once you do this to your credit card, you should be able to swipe your credit card and they should pay it at the end of the month. You should be able to swipe it and they should pay it at the end of the month. You'll be able to live completely off your credit cards. You won't have to work, you won't have to do anything. If you have credit cards big enough that you can pay all your bills off credit card, you can literally live completely off your credit cards and send it in.
Mm.
so all these CFOs and all these big honchos, they're literally living with a whole bunch of skeletons in the closet and shit. They're keeping shit from the other people because, like you said, anybody else gonna think you crazy and they gonna call the
Mhm.
police on you.
Yeah. And I mean, this is what they do. If you have a contract with someone and you don't pay it, they assign that contract to someone to collect it, and then they start collecting on you.
Mm.
You're doing the same thing they're doing.
That's
Except
crazy.
you're not assigning it for collection. You're assigning it for payment. I'm going to assign this to this person for this person to be able to collect or payment. All right. So what else was I getting ready to do? I wanted to go on to that, but we're
Bankers
probably
been getting over like a fat rat.
not really because when you think about it, they don't get to keep the money. Like they have to send the money to the treasury, and the treasury keeps it. The treasury uses that money and the interest gained by the national debt, and they use that to pay shit and take care of shit and all that. So the banks don't really get to keep it.
Mm.
The state does, and then the state sends it to the federal, and then the Federal Reserve, which is a private company, they keep it. Bank collections. Let's talk about. Let's look into that for a minute, so y'all can see just some of the sauce that's in here, talking about banks and what accounts really are, and I want to go back to definition.
And speaking of sauce,
Look,
if y'all want Shawn to keep coming back and giving you his enlightenment, then hit his card. It's the $ paid with sauce. Truly, paid with sauce.
thank you.
You want to see him again next Friday or the Friday after that or next month? Because he's already agreed to do like a 3 to 5 part series with us.
Mm-hmm.
So come on, open up your checkbook, write it off, or give them that money like your ass is in church. Pay them tithes.
I mean, once you get done with this, you'll have free money. So you
Right.
shouldn't be tripping anymore.
Exactly.
But account, this is the definition of account. Means any deposit or credit account with the bank, including a demand, time savings, passport, share draft, or the like account other than account evidenced by a certified deposit. It doesn't say the one that I wanted in this one, but it's other places. So basically with an account, when you sign up for an account, just a regular checking account, and you go in, the negotiable instrument is the signature card. The signature card is FDIC insured by $250,000. They're supposed to make this money available to you upon you opening up that account. That's your account. But you have to do an adverse claim to the bank, or they're never going to let it go. But you when you open up an account, you should be able to transact up to $250,000 on that account. You just got to know how to secure your account. Like the actual signature card is a promissory note. They deposit that on their books as an asset. Where is offer and acceptance? I'm trying to find offer and acceptance so y'all can really get a grasp of what offer and acceptance is. I believe it's in sales. General obligation. Like all this just talks about the obligations given to you and what you have to do and what happens on the contracts. You should read through this. You should read through all of this.
Dude, how can you fit all this shit in your brain?
It's. I look at it like this. Like they make all these superhero movies where every superhero has their own power. You pick which power is yours. You can have the power to get rid of bills. You can have the power to make promissory notes. You can have the power to do whatever fuck you want. I look at it as superpower. It's a superpower. Like I've been paying bills for 30-some years now. Now I don't have to. What? I found out I don't have to pay bills. That's what makes it exciting to me. That's what makes me just continue to read, because every time you read something new, you find out something that you never knew you could do. When they be like, learn your rights, this is a part of learning your rights. The classes you take aren't going to teach you the laws. They're going to teach you, like my mom is an accountant. She's been doing accounting for a long time. They taught her the laws that involve her job, but they didn't teach her the outside laws. Right. So now the stuff I'm trying to teach her, she's looking at me like, no, that's impossible. It's right here, Mom. Like, this is not me making it up. You can search, you can Google it on your phone right now and read it for yourself. It's just about if you understand it or not. All right, so talking about the assignment. This is a copy of my assignment this is for city. This is my assignment that I wrote out for city. Assignment of rights. Notice the agent is notice the principal. Notice the principal is notice the agent. Dear Mason Mark, I have received and are in possession of the document entitled showing my principal as the holder in due course. I accept this document for value and return it to you, endorsed for the offset of the debt. I hereby assign all of my rights and interests in the original negotiable instrument and authorize you to release any and all funds held in escrow for the offset of the debt.
Bigger, brother? My apologies. I didn't mean to cut you off. Can we make that a little bigger?
Control plus. Yep. Okay, assignment of rights.
Perfect.
I mean, it's on the video. You can just go back and
Notice to agent is notice to principal.
That means letting one person know they all know. And then after you write that, I put the Tennessee code down, and then I put the federal code down. If you look up this code, this code basically tells you that if you make a debt of $1, they are obligated to pay it for you.
Mm.
Anything over $1, they are obligated to pay it for you. Matter of fact, I'll pull it up so you can read it. So people can read it.
Universal Empress asks if you are available to be contacted through TikTok. I'm assuming she found you on TikTok already.
Yeah, just DM me. I'm gonna be setting up like some courses and some more stuff. It's just right now all my time goes into like reading and studying, and so it's woof, it's a lot of information. But yeah,
Let's make that clear to the family. You know, this is not a miracle cure. This is not a magical pill. You know, if you're not gonna read family, you ain't gonna figure nothing out.
because
So
each contract is individual. Each contract has its own stuff that they've put in it, depending on their rules and their regulations and what they actually put in the contract. So there's multiple different remedies. There's multiple different ways to get remedies. This is just the easiest one I found. So I'm teaching y'all the easiest one so y'all can make something happen fast.
Mhm.
All right, but this is why I said, Tez, when you search, just look for the Cornell. Instead of buying the Universal Commercial Code, Cornell Law Center has everything on it. I just use it there. I bought the book. The book was like $300, and I was like, no, I can get it for free.
oh, I like that website you just went to. That one has everything on it, you said?
Yeah, Cornell has everything. Um, I think the state laws, well, our state laws are owned by LexisNexis, which is weird. I didn't think. Uh, yeah, that was a really weird to find out that LexisNexis owned was controlling our state laws. But if y'all don't know what LexisNexis is, it's a credit bureau. They do like Checkstar does like financing and stuff like that. LexisNexis does pretty much everything else. The credit bureaus go to LexisNexis to get your information. If you ask them to validate a debt, they're going to go to LexisNexis. LexisNexis is going to validate the debt and send them the information, and then they're going to do what they're going to do. But
Wow.
I mean, credit is easy. Credit is easy. The credit bureaus they're privately owned bureaus. Like everything is done by consent. You can remove your consent for them to even house your private information, but then you won't have a credit score. So I wouldn't advise doing that. But okay, treatment of credit balances and account termination. Credit balances. When a credit balance in excess of $1 is created on a credit account through transmittal of funds to a creditor in excess to the total balance due on an account through rebates and unearned financial finance charges or insurance premiums or through amounts otherwise owed to or held on the behalf of the customer, the creditor shall credit the amount of the credit balance to the consumer's account. Refund any part of the remaining balance within 7 business days from the receipt of a written request from the creditor. Notice it says from the receipt of a written request. You actually have to say this. If you're not telling them what to do, they're not going to do it for you. This basically tells you they can't terminate your account. This deals with open end credit accounts. But let's go to Regulation Z.
Mhm.
They have open-ended credit, governing open-ended credit accounts. They have closed-ended credit, governing closed-ended credit accounts. Open-ended credit accounts is like credit cards, lines of credit, HELOCs, things that once you pay it, it's reusable. Closed-ended is like loans, car loans. Once you pay it off, it's done. But this right here will switch all your credit. The credit laws, they'll switch all your credit. The consumer laws are crazy. I'm not gonna go into that one. That has its own remedy. It's called the right to rescission. If you actually go into it and read the right to rescission, that's a whole nother remedy. I might add that into the next video or whatever. But after you have the assignment of rights. Okay, so now you have to give them a receipt. You can make your own receipt. I made my own receipt. You can use a 1099-C, or you can make your own receipt. It would be preferred to use a 1099-C, but if you don't have any and you don't want to pay to do it, because I don't want to pay to do it anymore, I just make my own receipt. This is how my receipt looks. Receipt date. This is my 11th receipt. I switch the invoice number every time. This is.
Can we see it?
Yeah, can you see it? Isn't it showing you?
Yes.
Then it got documented title. That's the price. It's always negative. They gave it to you positive. You return it negative. You receive the payment and you're returning it back for offset. So it's always negative. And then I put thank you for your business on the bottom, just like a, I know what you're doing. Thank you for your business. So all right, we got that.
What happened?
Huh? Oh, did I put it out too fast? My bad. You were still looking at it.
No. I'm saying, what happened when you sent them that? It
went away. It went away as part of the process. They can't really.
Did they tell you that it went away in a letter, or?
I got a letter from a couple people. I got a couple calls from people, and then other people I had to call. All right, so let me show you one of my bills.
Incredible.
Family, make sure that you hit that like button. You know, that don't cost you a thing. Hit the like button, share it with your family, share it with your friends.
Yeah, share it with everybody, man.
Yeah,
share it everywhere you can, every platform that you can. You know, and let them know Shawn will be back for another show, and we gonna keep breaking it down. We gonna make a series out of it
until you get it.
All right,
it's gonna come back until you get it.
So this is my car note from February that I bought, right? Annual percentage. You see it says promissory note. It's a promissory note. It's got an amount on it. It's got payments. It's got interest on it. And if you right here, this is where it lists the collateral. Shares and dividends in according to Section 107.11 of the Federal Credit Union Act. So the collateral is shares and dividends. It's not the car. This is the car contract, but that's my collateral right there, right? So within the contract, it actually says that I gave them security interest in the car, right? So all this. You give them the security agreement. This is what happens if you default on the agreement. It says everything in here. If you don't read it, you kind of end up screwed. That's showing that it is actually a promissory note. When I first started, this is my conditional acceptance that I sent, which I could have got this taken care of a long time ago. I didn't know how to enforce a conditional acceptance. If you don't know what a conditional acceptance is, I would look up, because everything is negotiable. Every offer can be accepted either conditionally or it can be just accepted outright. A conditional acceptance is you offer me $500, I send you a legal document back that says I accept your $500 on the conditions that you up that $500 to $10,000. You got 10 days to respond or reject this. If you don't reject it, then I expect you to send me my $10,000. And if they don't reject it, then you just hit them with a lien. Foreclose on their property, foreclose on their house. I'm trying to find my bill because I sent it off, but you need to keep copies of everything you do, just in case if they come back and they be like, hey, you owe this, just send them the copy, send them the whole package. Here go copies of the assignment of rights, here go the bill, here go everything. Don't talk to me no more.
My bad. My apologies to the family. I got the wrong fucking thing right here. This is talking about going into a college. Hold on. I don't know what I
wanted. Here go. Send everything certified mail return receipt, so they have to sign. You'll get this green card back. They cannot say that they didn't get it. They sign. You sign for it. You sign for it. I got it. You can't say you didn't get it. I didn't have my bill in that one. I'm gonna have to find one with the bill so I can show it to you.
This is the correct one, family. Conditional acceptance means acceptance of supplies or services that do not conform to contract quality requirements or are otherwise incomplete that the contractor is required to correct otherwise complete by a specified date.
Yep, it's in the UCC. It's just basically a way when you understand what mail is, what offer and acceptance is. Anything you receive in the mail is an offer. It's an offer to you, and you can either ignore it or you can accept it conditionally. And once you send it through the mail, it's called the mailbox law. Once it's sent through the mail, certified mail, and they sign for it, it's they agree. They contractually agree. So whatever the fuck you put in that package. I done sent people stuff saying that you in debt to me for $4 million. At the time, I didn't know how to enforce it, so I didn't do anything. What the fuck? I can't find that on my bill.
Appreciate you a lot for slamming that like button.
Taz, your I didn't see your Cash App. It said your name, but when I put it up there, it turned out to be mine. So I see where there was a ticker up there, but
Yeah, yeah, no, I had I got my Cash App as a ticker, so it's scrolling at the bottom.
okay.
All right, I got it. Okay, okay. All right, this is for one of my credit cards. This is First Savings credit card. My assignment of rights, of course, sent them. This is first assignment of rights with the laws. This is the bill. I'm gonna give you a close up of the bill in a second, and then this is the receipt, which I already showed you the receipt. This is the bill. You notice when you get a bill, you have the top part, and then it has a dividing line right here, and then you have this bottom part. This bottom part is a coupon. The top part is the document of title. The top part is a negotiable instrument, and it's going to work the same as a check. So what you want to do is you want to make the check payable to someone. This one is hard to see, but right here it says pay to the order of First Savings Bank for offset. And then I have a stamp. I got a stamp, so I stamp it. It's got my UCC contract number. It's got the date. It's got the value. It's got my signature. It's got everything. So I use the stamp. But you just draw a line, sign it. Make sure that you sign it for your agency. So it's kind of hard to see, but mine is signed Shawn Sims, and then it says agent, and then it has my all caps name underneath it.
So there is a reason to why that bottom part is got the little tear dotted line or whatever.
Yeah, it's the coupon. It's what they need to release the funds.
Holy shit!
So on the coupon, you will fill the coupon out in negative. So this bill is 858.50. I filled it out for a negative 858.50. And as you notice, on each of the payments on this bill, like it's always positive. Like you don't see no negatives. Like whenever they see you a bill, it's always positive. Like the bills is always positive. Send that to them. Send it certified.
The fact that you write it back in negative is actually what discharges the.
Yeah. Yep. So you have 7 days from the time you receive a bill to do this. 7 days.
Right, which
all that's in the UCC too.
On why you want to go paper instead of paper.
I go paper as soon as I get it. I got a template up. So as soon as I get a bill, I print out my stuff and I send it out the next day. Watch your bills disappear. That's pretty much the whole sauce. Yeah, we can ask some questions.
Oh yeah.
Anybody got questions? Anybody got questions?
Well, we had a couple of people in the chat.
You don't have to have the SPC to do it. You already had a power. As of right now, you're making these contracts. You're already making the contracts. You're already signing for value. You're already doing it. You just don't know how to do it right, but you're already doing it. The SPC is for it's another process. It's for operating as a secure party creditor. You don't have to operate as a secure party creditor to deal with your stuff. Secure party creditor is a different process and it's for other things. Like
Right.
you can,
So
if you
that's
want to
what
know more into, if you want to go more into like the ability to foreclose on things and lend on things and stuff like that, that's secure party creditor stuff. But all this you can just do. You can do this next month and just start sending it out. You already got the power, you're just transferring your rights. The obligation is already yours. You already accepted the liability and the obligation. That's why they're sending it to you. It's your account. Just assign it.
and for those who wasn't here for your last two sessions, um, are we entitled to do we have money already set up in our account from birth?
Yeah, the so your all caps name is it's a trust company. It's a Sesta QV trust. It's a trust company. So when you're born and you get registered, they put money in this account and then they start writing bonds against that money. So by the time you turn 18, it's all set up for your benefit. This money is supposed to be yours. It's set up for you. When you turn 18, you're supposed to learn how to be coherent and competent and move this way.
Is that
You
just in
don't.
the United States?
Is it just in the United States?
Yeah.
More than likely, I think
UCC?
sovereignty in other places is probably going to be similar, but you're just going to have to find out the process in their area. But the Uniform Commercial Code and commerce is everywhere. But as far as like when you get down to sovereignty and being born on a land, it's really up to the land that you were born on and their codes that allow you to, I ain't gonna say allow you because they can't allow you to do it. You can do it anyways. But the codes that stop them from fucking with you, that stop them from challenging you, to stop you from having to tell a cop, I don't have to produce my ID for you. When I give you your ID, they say, oh, my bad, and they walk away. That's how you want it. You don't want to have to defend yourself against the government. You want the government to just not fuck with you no more.
Damn. Wow. So so he want to know if you do private consulting, and you already said that.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm setting something up. When I get stuff set up, like I'll probably come back on here and say it again. Like I'm in the process of setting something up. It's so much stuff to read, man.
And Shawn, and now that you've been doing this, like you said, your mother's getting ready to be financially free. You getting ready to be
All
finance
finance free. I ain't worked in a year.
okay, but
I've been living off credit for. I was living off credit for 6 months, and then I paid off like $50,000 worth of debt with a closed bank account, and it accepted all of it. So I liquidated all my credit cards again, and then they reset it, and then they tried to, hey, you always I ain't giving you this fucking money back. It's my money. So I've been living cool.
but isn't there a point isn't there a point where you're actually going to be going straight to the treasurer yourself and demanding funds?
No, I'm gonna send a $100 billion bond. That's part of the secure
Okay.
party creditor process. So I
Okay.
mean, once I get my stuff, I'm gonna do the secure party creditor process too, just because I know how to use it and I know what to do. So I'm definitely going to do that process. But once I get my bonds, I'm just gonna get me a private banker, and all my stuff will be done through the bank.
Mm.
Every bill I make, I'll just assign to my personal banker. Just take care of it. Release the funds.
Mm.
That's really how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to have a personal banker, and you're the credit, but you need somewhere for the credit to come out of. That's what banks were set up for. So you need to get a personal banker, and he'll control majority of that stuff for you. Only the ultra rich have personal bankers because they're the only people that understand what a personal banker really is. Versus most people like us, I don't go in the bank unless I got money to put in or I need to pull it out. And now with the internet, I don't even go in the bank. I can just transfer it to my Cash App card now. So
And so when we were talking the other day, you mentioned a bill called HR 25.
yeah, HR 25 is a bill that was passed 2019 by the Congress, basically saying that they're getting ready to abolish the IRS. They're getting ready to get rid of income taxes and bring in a national sales tax. You can look it up, HR 25.
Mm, mm, mm.
Read up on it. They're getting ready to get rid of income tax. So income taxes is voluntary, anyways. That's taxes is only legal during wartime. So as of right now, the IRS is not registered to do business in the United States of America. The IRS uses commercial code to foreclose and arrest you and hold you hostage. Not the same code you can use. Same code.
Wow. And so if you got a job and you go to HR and you tell them, hey, you can stop taking taxes out of my check now.
Just fill out
They want to do it, but they're gonna want to
WABN.
know why.
Just fill out a WABN. Give it to them. Tell them to fill out a WABNE. A WABN is basically allows you to not pay your taxes. It's it's for aliens, but I mean technically you're foreign to the United States federal government. So get a company a WABN. They have to fill out a W8BENE. They have to fill that out. That stops them from having to withhold because when a company withhold taxes, they withhold taxes from you, and they have to match those withheld taxes. So it actually costs them money to withhold taxes from you. So if you give them a WABN and they fill out the WABENE, they no longer have to write out taxes on you. But I mean, why would you just open up a business or just
Well,
why would you want to work for somebody?
why do people go to jail for tax
It's
evasion
consent.
shit?
Consent.
Because they agreed to go to jail.
Because you don't know no better. It's consent. You didn't step up and object to it, so you went to jail. You expected your lawyer to do it, but your lawyer works for the system. He's not going to do this stuff for you. This is a private system. You have to do it. If you don't object, you consent. So you go to jail. You're a surety. The secure party process, that's the other process. That's basically going through and taking control of your straw man, taking control of your name, and putting it on record that you and the straw man are two completely different people. I'm a person's and he's a person's, but I'm a consumer and he's just a person. If you look up the meaning of person, person is a living being, a living individual. It's a corporation. It's a trust. A person's is any company can be a person's. So you're operating as two persons. You have public persons and the private persons, but you're operating your public persons privately, and that's what's screwing you. You need to learn how to operate your public person publicly, and you need to start telling the government that I'm not this person. I'm the agent. You can't hold me. You can't hold me for surety for this that you created that I didn't even ask for. You did it for me. You can't hold me surety for this. You got to start separating yourself from your straw man. But I mean, you can get rid of your bills without having to do any of that. That's just if you want to get like diplomatic immunity and stuff like that. Like that's my next step that I'm working on. Once somebody in your family get diplomatic immunity, like your whole family get diplomatic immunity. So once I get it, then everybody get it. So that's gonna be the next thing I'm working on is diplomatic immunity. But that just get on the do not detain list. You don't get stopped. You can smoke. You can drive. You can do whatever you want to, and they can't mess with you. The SPC process is more for. That's more for enforcing things. It's more for enforcing laws, for putting liens, for stuff like that. The SPC process, the secure party creditor process. It's three different processes. It's the SPC, and then it's you already have the power. You're already writing contracts. You're already signing. You're already giving value. So you already have the power to interact in this capacity as is. You just don't know how to really act.
And does that work on all the scales? Let's say you got a mortgage, your biggest bill ever.
Yeah, I just got rid of my mom's mortgage this month.
Got rid of.
Yeah,
Do you have a process?
just the same process I just showed you. The process I just showed you works with every negotiable instrument. Every financial transaction it started with a negotiable instrument. Every time you sign something with your name, you're creating value. This process works with any value created.
Does she have affirmation that that mortgage is gone?
Which is we're waiting to hear back. Um, she hasn't got the green card back, so they haven't. She sent it out like a week ago. Sometimes it takes like 2 or 3 weeks before you get the green card back. Once you get the green card back, they got it. All my businesses and companies have called me or sent me something. So she hasn't got it back for that, but she got it back for she bought she bought two timeshares, and the maintenance fee was like $2,000, and I think they was trying to charge her an extra like $1,000 a piece because she bought two of them. I don't know why she bought two of them, but she bought two timeshares, so we got two different timeshares. So I sent them off. We got confirmation that they're no longer trying to collect. She got the email and everything.
Now, Uncle Gary is asking that he said that I was under the impression that working in the public, aka a job, requires the payment of taxes by law. Please clarify.
All right, so if you're a 14th Amendment citizen, you have to pay taxes. If you identify as this, you have the whole system is about consent. If you look up the definition of taxes, it's a contribution imposed. If they tell you, okay, so common law, everything else is just statutes. Common law is the only real law. Everything else is statutes and rules and principles.
Right.
By common law, there has to be an injured party. If the IRS sends you something, you send them back a sworn affidavit under the penalty of perjury, telling them to swear and to not only swear under the penalty of perjury that you owe this, but to also show you why they owe you, and that should just fade away. You'll never hear about it again. It's all about consent. Like if you don't know, then you have no rights. So if I come to you and say that you owe me $500 and you don't know that you don't owe me $500, then you better pay up or I'm gonna sue you. But if you like, hold on, I don't owe you 500. Prove to me that I owe you $500. That's what a conditional acceptance is. A conditional acceptance is an acceptance under conditions. So IRS, you're saying that I owe you $5,000. I accept that I owe you $5,000, and I agree to pay you this $5,000 upon you providing proof that I actually owe you this $5,000, or by you providing an injured party that or a contract or some type of proof to me showing that you owe me this. Provide this within 10 days, 3 days for shipping. If you don't do this, then by contract, I no longer owe you this debt. Don't try to do anything. Like they're not going to respond correctly. They're not. Conditional acceptances will get you out of majority of your issues. They're not going to respond. If they respond at all, they're not going to respond correctly. So within that 13 days period after that, that conditional acceptance is a contract. They've now contractually agreed to what you put in that conditional acceptance, and they're bound to perform by it. You can enforce it.
Right. Allah 13, the Divine Dark Lord asks, how do you enforce your conditional acceptance? If you already went over that earlier, I can check the replay. Brother?
I didn't go over it. It's in the UCC. It's just you put liens on people, commercial liens. It's commercial law is before you sue, before you get the government involved. You have rights and powers to settle your own affairs before you have to bring the government in. So the Uniform Commercial Code it's a mixture of commerce and common law. So it's going to tell you basically you send them an affidavit notarized and sworn under the penalty of perjury. You give them a chance to explain themselves and rebut your affidavit point for point. They're not going to do it because in order for them to do it, a person would have to assume liability for a company, and they're not going to do it. I wouldn't assume liability for a company I work for. So once you do that, you get that back. If they don't do it, put it in there that you're going to put a lien on them. You can type up any violations that they've did to you in a price or an amount or whatever. Send it to them. When they don't perform, they're contractually bound by this affidavit. This affidavit now becomes law. Go on your Secretary of State site, fill out a UCC on them, fill out a commercial lien on them, get the commercial lien, Take the commercial lien and the affidavit, take it down to your Secretary of State, or your not the Secretary of State. Take it down to your Register of Deed. You take it down to the Register of your county, which is the Register of Deed, and you get it registered on the public record. Within 30 days, within it's 3 months, that becomes an accounts receivable, and you can take it to the sheriff, and they'll actually put out a warrant, and they'll go foreclose for you. So you start learning how to send the government after the government, like, right? Because law enforcement works a certain way. Sheriffs are on the outskirts. The metro police is only like metro areas. Sheriffs are over metro police. I think state troopers are under sheriffs. So it's all about jurisdiction on the way up. You can send a cop to arrest another cop. You can send a government agency to do your things for a guy. You can send the IRS after somebody. The IRS has a whistleblowing form and it has a snitch form. I can't remember it exactly, but you can snitch on somebody and get them audited.
Wow.
I threatened a couple companies. I'll send the IRS after you. Like, all they got to do is file this file. They go look into it. You're gonna get audited.
There's two pretty similar questions. The brother Gadget Guyo game. If I hope I didn't slaughter his name. He said, "Where do I begin reading so I can obtain this knowledge?" As well as Jasmine, she asked, "What books do you suggest we look into? And is it this
I
good for
would I
new
wouldn't
and
read any books. I would start reading the codes. Books books tend books have an agenda. So a book is about something, right? The code is the code. A book is about something. If this book is about one thing, everything in it is going to be about this. So you miss all this over here. I would start by reading the uniform commercial code. That's where I would start. That's going to teach you actually how to do commerce. Everything that I went over. If you go back and look at the video, you'll see the places that I went in. Start by reading that. The uniform code will teach you how to operate in commerce and teach you what you can and can't do.
all right. And it does apply for new and old debt, correct?
You said what?
She asked that she said that it does apply for new and old debt, correct?
Yeah, I mean, if a debt is old and it's already wrote off, I wouldn't even bother it. Like if it's on your credit report, I would go more after the credit bureaus than the old debt. Like old debt is it's a waste of time to try to get rid of. Debt you can't pay off debt. It's all offset. It's all numbers. It's a book ledger. There's a positive side and a negative side. It's all offset. It's only numbers. So any old debt, I wouldn't even worry about it. Like, what's the point? Unless it's old debt that's hurting you right now, which if it's like if you're behind on a card or you're behind on a payment or something like that, this will take care of that for you. If that's what you're asking, this process will take care of like old payments. But if it's like a car that's like on your that you ain't pay off and it's been on there for like 3 or 4 years, just go through the credit bureau. Start learning your consumer laws. Your consumer laws will tell you how to remove pretty much everything from your credit report. The credit bureaus, they're private companies. Everything is consent. It's all consent. You consent to them housing your private information.
So, when you do your school, what are you going to offer? Are you going to read with us, or are you going to have the letters for everything? And
Yeah, I'm gonna have a little bit of everything, pretty much everything. It should be
okay,
a step by
these
step process
letters,
of things.
these letters that you send out, and these affidavits, are you making them up as you go, or is there
Yeah,
a template that's commonly used when you're gonna, you know,
just make them up. I mean, whatever. Each it just depends on which contract you're trying to get out of. Like if I'm trying to get if I'm talking to a credit card company, I'm going to talk different than if I'm talking to an electric company. I'm going to talk different if I'm talking to a bank. So it's just different laws, different rules, different regulations for who you're talking to. All of them have to follow the uniform code. So
hmm
when it goes, the only thing different is when you do an affidavit, you got to take that down and you got to get it notarized.
okay.
That makes it a lawful document.
That's an answer for Nathaniel. Nathaniel says there are different steps if it's in your credit report already.
It just It depends on what is on your credit report. Like it really is. Is it a car? Is it a credit card? Is it how old is it? It really just depends on what it is. But if you start looking into the CFR will teach you how to spick and span your credit.
And what is the CFR? Or
The shit I pulled up earlier, I can't even remember. It's the federal rules of regulations or federal rules or codes or whatever.
okay.
The CFR Code of Federal Regulations.
Code of federal regulations. That's gonna have all your consumer rights in it. It'll have the debt collecting practices and how they violate it. Because majority getting out of a contract is simple. It's really just everyone violates the law. Everyone has screwed up at some point in time, and it's really just getting them out of that. There's certain notices that each company is supposed to give you as when they lend you stuff, and majority of them don't. So just saying, hey, you didn't give me this right here, can get you out of a contract. All right,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I'll tell you about this one since I said I'll probably go over it last, but we'll go over it right here.
Yeah, Nathaniel said that it's an old car from 3 years ago.
What is it? How's it showing on your credit? Is it showing it's just like a collection account? I wouldn't even fuck that. Send the credit bureaus a letter telling them to provide the original contract with your signature on it,
Mm-hmm.
showing that this is your debt. Tell them to provide this for you. But before you do it, you need to go and you need to freeze Alexis Texas. I mean, not Alexis Texas. LexisNexis. You need to freeze LexisNexis. You need to freeze Checkstar, and it's one more. It's one more because it's a couple bureaus that there's the three major credit bureaus, and then it's like three or four side credit bureaus. And the major credit bureaus that go to these side credit bureaus for information. So when you send them a validation of debt, if you freeze all four of these, they won't be able to validate the debt, and they'll have to take it off. Also, if you send it regular mail, like with a regular envelope, not certified mail, send it regular mail and backdate it 2 weeks, right? So when they get it, they're going to put it into a system. The system is going to show that they only got 2 weeks to do this investigation. In 2 weeks, go to the CFPB and report them, and let the CFPB start looking into it. Like you just got to start making it uncomfortable. Make them validate that you owe this. Make them show you, okay, so this is the original note, which that note has probably been sold. It's probably long gone. They're probably never going to be able to get a hold of that note again. So if they can't provide the note, then get rid of this debt immediately. You just got to learn. You got to learn how to tell motherfuckers what to do. Like it's your private information. It's your account. They're housing your shit. You just got to learn how to tell people what to do. This is what I want you to do for my stuff. If you don't do this, then I know that I can put a lien on you because you've injured me or you've injured my credit or you've done something over here. So it's just about just figuring out what your personal situation is and the remedies of it. With anything dealing with the credit, the first step is to freeze those credit reports and then ask them to validate the debt. That would be the first step I would take.
Mm.
Especially
Well,
if
I
it's
actually
3 years old, there's a great chance that they're not going to validate anything
Right.
about that debt.
They not.
On top of that, you don't have a contract with them. That's another thing. You can just send them and be like, bro, I didn't sign. Show me the contract that I signed with your company. Like I didn't sign any contract with you.
That's right. And so you don't owe them.
I don't owe you. Someone sold you this debt. I don't owe you. I don't have a contract with you. I don't owe you shit. Send them that and a legal affidavit, and tell them they got 10 days to rebut your affidavit point for point, or they need to take this shit off your credit report. And if they don't, that you go hit them with $100,000 lien. And then if they don't, hit them with $100,000 lien.
And I'm assuming that you can do that on your own without hiring an attorney.
Yeah, you're supposed to do it without hiring an attorney. Attorneys are public. They work for the corporation. Like you don't really want an attorney to represent you. You want to represent yourself. Once you find out what you're doing, you won't need an attorney. You will find out that you have far more power than any attorney will ever have. Like you're the consumer, you're the credit, you're the full faith and credit of the United States of America. You're a sovereign. You have certain rights. Once you find out how to enforce these rights and how to use these rights, you have more power than any public corporation.
Did people who go to court and get sentenced to jail, did they do that to themselves?
Yeah, you submit it to their jurisdiction.
Um, do they have a remedy for everything that's done?
You should never go to court. You should never have to go to court. If you go to court, you already lost. You finna lose.
Right.
The system is not set up for you to win in court. You should never go to court. You should handle everything in your administrative
But
process
you give
outside
them
of court before your
jurisdiction
court
when you
date.
show up in court, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just take care of everything before court.
Right. Like
If you have your secure party process done, just take your documents and put them in the court case. That should go away. You'll get a letter like, "Hey, we're no longer interested in you
I'm
anymore."
glad I'm glad you mentioned that because you did show me paperwork where you own your straw man.
Hmm.
Okay. The process for that is
That's the SBC process where you get a it's in the redemption manual. The SBC process, you basically you get a security agreement between you and your straw man. You write up a copyright between you and your straw man. You make up a whole harmless indemnity agreement with you and your straw man. You put a uniform commercial code on your straw man. Uh, Not a code, a lien. You put a lien on your straw man. I put mine for 100 million. What else did I get? Copyright, all that. You take a fee schedule. You put all this. You record it all with the Register of Deeds office, so it's all public knowledge. My fee schedule says something like, if you arrest me, if you need me to come into court, it's going to be $10,000 an hour for my time being in your courthouse. If you take all my information is trademarked, my name is trademarked, my name is copyrighted. If you use my fucking copyrighted information, I can hit you with $1 million lien. Like it's yeah. You gotta read the Registration Act. The Registration Act will teach you about registering documents and what documents need to be registered and what documents don't need to be registered. Also, read the Transfer of Property Act. Transfer of Property will teach you exactly how you're supposed to transfer your property.
so your mother owns her property now. It's not the
I
government.
mean, technically, you own it anyways, because I mean, once you pay for it, it's yours. But she doesn't own it yet because when you register your house, when you register your car, you're giving jurisdiction to the government. You're giving it to them. So her house is still registered. So right now, she just doesn't have to pay on it yet. I don't. She's not ready for the rest of it.
Okay.
So I'm baby stepping her. She's not ready to have to put liens on people and enforce her rights. So I'm probably gonna end up making her sign a power of attorney and just give me power of attorney over her, so I can do everything for her eventually. But right now, she's just taking baby steps. So she'll get there eventually, hopefully. If not, I mean, when I get my stuff situated, because once I get my birth certificates,
Right. Yeah. Um, the next time you come on the show, can you think of anything that you could baby step us through? Like a simple get rid of your credit card debt.
really, all if you do this will get rid of all your debt. Do it with every credit card you have. Do it with every piece of debt you have. It'll get rid of all of it.
But for the people who are not friendly to procedures.
Hmm. I mean, if you can't do procedures, you're not gonna be able to do the process.
Okay, I mean
Process is procedures. It's all paperwork.
like a step by step. Like here's the letter that you're gonna send to so and so. You're gonna get this back. When you do that, um, attach this, do that, and boom, voila.
I mean, that's just what I did. You get the assignment of rights. When you get the bill, you write pay to the order across the bill. You sign it, endorse it, you write it negative, you print out a receipt, and you send it to their CFO. After you do that, you don't have to do anything else. They'll contact you. You'll get a letter, you'll get a phone call, you'll get something. If you haven't heard something from them in 2 weeks, then just call them and be like, hey, I sent you this document. And they'll be like, oh yeah, we got it. We're going to apply it to it. Like it's
And
literally step by step. If the people overthink and make stuff more complicated, it's
okay.
really that simple. Just send it to them. It's just send it to them. Every bill, phone bill, NES, water bill, send it to them.
And all of this is contingent upon having that paper bill. That
Not
paper.
really. The when you sign any, you having an account shows that you signed a negotiable instrument to open that account. Except for NES. NES, you don't have an agreement with NES. So it's a little bit easier with NES because you didn't sign anything. And by law, any I think it's anything over $25, you have to have a written contract for it. So NES, you could just write them and say, hey, I'm aware that we don't really have a contract, and by law, I would search the law and Google the law, figure out the law. I would have to find out which law it was. I read it like a month or two ago, but give them the law and be like, this law basically states that this is what has to happen, and then ignorance of the law isn't an excuse. They have to follow the law. They have to follow the law. Once you give them a assignment of rights, once you give them your rescission notice, once you give them some of these things, they have to follow it. Like you just send it and then you kick back and wait.
Mm, mm. Right. Okay. So your mom has electric in her house. True that,
Mhm.
right? Uh,
I had to. We haven't done any of those yet. I had to. My mom keeps asking for proof. Every time I show her proof, it's not enough. So I've been just showing her different proof.
even though she
Here
ain't
goes
paying
something
that
else.
no
Here
more.
goes something else. It's just this just happened like last week. So now she's on. Like once that creditor wrote her back and told her that they're not trying to collect on her anymore, she was like, okay. So now she's more on board. But it's been months of me trying to get my mom to understand that all this is possible. I literally had to be like, you don't have to pay anything. Like Like she started laughing. I'm like, I shouldn't have to yell at you to get you to stop paying bills that you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay these bills. Why are you fighting so hard to give your money away? Like she got it after I did that. Like why? What is the connection that I understand you have 60 something years of paying bills on this earth. But if you come and tell me that you don't have to pay it, and then you show me how not to pay it, I'm with it. I'm trying. I'm doing it. But I mean, she's trying to get into real estate too, so she was scared about her credit. But credit is a fallacy. Credit is fake. Credit really ain't shit.
Yeah.
Credit is easy. Credit is not hard. Credit is credit. Credit is not hard.
Damn.
But yeah,
I will have to give you mad compliments, brother, because the subject is very mind-boggling. It's information, in defense of mom. I think I would have been on the same shoes. Like, wait, hold on a minute.
all right, so to start my journey, and this is why I was on my mom's back. I started this probably like 7 or 8 months ago. I saw something and somebody was like, you can pay bills with your Social Security account. It's actually an account. So I paid 2 of my bills with that account and I showed it to her. She said, okay. So that just opened up the rabbit hole. Now I know what's possible. So now I got to figure out. So now I'm reading all kinds of laws and all kinds of statutes. So then I get to a point where I pay off like $50,000 worth of her debt from a closed account. So I'm like, and it paid off, and it stayed paid off for about a week, and then they returned all the payments later. I guess after they found out, hey, he didn't secure his account right to be able to do this. Then they returned all the payments. But I'm like, Mom, I just got rid of $50,000 worth of your debt, like off a closed account. That to me, I mean, that might not be a whole bunch, but to me, it's like, okay, so this is doable. All right. So then I was fighting with Navy Federal to get rid of my car note. My car note said that I was behind like 3 or 4 months ahead. It had real big. Like as soon as I logged in, it would immediately take me to the payment screen and tell me that I needed to make a payment immediately. So I sent them the stuff. All that went away. And the only thing it says on my Navy Federal is this is not an attempt to collect the debt. This is for informational purposes only. And all the payments and all the everything just kind of faded away. So I showed her that. And she was like, okay. Still didn't believe it. So then we sent off her stuff and her Navy Federal switched because she got a car loan with Navy Federal too. So her Navy Federal switched and it said the same thing and it didn't say that before. So now she's like, okay, well maybe he knows what he's talking about. And then she got another letter from another creditor saying, hey, we're no longer we're reassigning this back to the original creditor. We're no longer trying to collect this debt from you. And then she was like, oh, okay. So now it's on. Now it's good. Now every time she get a bill, she's like, come here. This bill.
Oh my God. Yeah, so just for the record, you guys are talking to my nephew, Shawn Sims. His mother is my older sister. She's the oldest of the Grant girls. So this is how this came about. I heard from my sister that Shawn was talking that UCC shit, and it wasn't in a positive light, but my response was very positive. It's like, what? What else did he say? What is he saying? I said, call him. Call him. Shawn, you talking that UCC shit? And he was already gone with it. He was already gone. I said, this is an unbelievable amount of information. Come to the show. When you come to the show, he was more than happy. He's not trying to sell this stuff. He wants everybody to be debt free, bill free, and happy. So he's doing this out of the goodness of his heart. He's giving us all the time that we want. We said come back and do 3, 5 more shows until people get more familiar and can go on and discharge their own debt. He totally agreed. This is out of the goodness of his heart. It really is. And I'm glad he's my
We
nephew.
appreciate you so much for that, brother.
No problem.
Joe Butler said, you gonna make mom a believer.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, she there now. She there.
yeah. Once that
She
more
there. It's
information come in,
when I be talking to people, it feels good to talk to people that kind of, I mean, not understand everything, but kind of understand some. Because a lot of people I told you just kind of look at me like I'm crazy. Like, what are you talking
right, right.
about? If only you knew. If you took the time to look into what I'm talking about, it'll change your life.
Mhm.
Like I got a homeboy that he just won't.
Mhm.
I told him, bro, let me get rid of all your bills. I'll come over there tomorrow and show you how to do it. And he was like, no, I don't want to do it. What? You said no, you don't want to do it. Like, all right, well, keep paying then.
Oh my goodness.
Keep paying. Keep it up. Shit. When he see this car,
Right,
he's
right.
like, what? Yeah, I told you. I told you 3 months
Some
ago
people
how to
live
take
for
care of
that
it.
grind.
But yeah, I'm in full process. I'm waiting to get my bonds back or my what the fuck? I keep slipping. My birth certificates back. I sent one in to get authenticated. I'm waiting for that to come back. And then I ordered like 4 more. It's been like 6 months I've been waiting on them. They said it should be here by the end of this month, hopefully, but they said it should be here by the end of last month. It wasn't. So they're saying by the end of this month. Once I get that, that's when you get to a point that make your own money, write your own bonds. Like you can write letters of credit, you can write promissory notes, you can write bonds, you can write bills of exchange, you can do all that. It says it all in the Uniform Commercial Code. You just got to learn how to do it. Money becomes irrelevant. I'm at the point where money is irrelevant, right? I don't have to work.
So is our government derelict of duty? Should they tell us these things?
They put in the code the way it's set up. All right, so the reason why the United States became the United States and it came so big is because the laws that we were able to enact due to the fact that we're not really American. Technically, we're still British. Like we never won our independence. We signed the treaty that gave us our independence. So because of that, they can put the United States on the maritime law, which is the law of the sea, because technically we're not American citizens. Technically, we're British citizens. So
Mm.
you start stacking different laws on top of each other, and then you get the United States, the land of the free, the American dream. And it really is an American dream. Just most people don't know how to attain it.
You're right. And so during our educational process, like somewhere between the fourth and the 12th grade, tell us
Mhm.
the shit.
You're not, you can't do it till you turn 18.
Okay, so prepare us in 12th grade.
Yeah. I mean, if you prepare, then there's no debt slaves.
Right.
Like,
No, no, but if there's no debt slaves or slaves, period, doesn't it become a great nation? If
I
people are
mean, but
prospering and
you got to
healthy,
think that the people in power is this is about power.
right,
That's we'll be completely losing power. Like all the power that we have, that's completely losing it. If everyone was a multimillionaire and they knew it, then everyone would. I guess you wouldn't be special anymore. There wouldn't be a 1% anymore. Everyone will be a part of 1%. It will become the 100%. Everybody will be able to get exactly what you have. Everyone will be able to get the same car, the same clothes, the same everything. You would stop being special based on the tax brackets. So they don't want that to happen. Like,
Yeah, those are truly facts.
yeah, they don't
mhm.
want that to happen, but that's what we live for. We want to be left alone to prosper and enjoy this life.
Well, I ain't tripping. Once I get cool, I'm finna get me a yacht and I'm finna have it on standby in Miami. So if anything happen, family get to the yacht, we woo, out the U.S. Out the U.S. Now, always got to have an escape plan because you never really know what's gonna happen. So yeah, get it. Go ahead and if y'all finna get Comcast, go ahead and get everything. Soup it, soup it,
Exactly.
soup it. You ain't finna have to pay for it. You want Netflix? Get the top Netflix that you can share with everybody. Hand out your password. Put that shit on your social media so anyone can use your Netflix.
Right. That's right.
Ain't gotta pay for it. Like,
And so, and so I was telling Sean the other day that those of you who know who Yaki Awakened is or Yaki Hickman, you'll know what he's doing as far as the body and teaching us about our cells and our body and how they work and trying to get us back fit and in shape and to stop eating all that crap that the food industry is bestowing on us. I said, Sean, you're the financial equivalent of what Yaki is doing for his community by, just educating freely because we need to be awakened. And
mhm.
so this kind of stuff right here is enough to get enough people thinking about their financial freedom and at least starting to change things around, so to speak. Like turn the tables or change the paradigm, shift it a little bit.
Mhm.
So because for one, the way you dealing through these letters and stuff, there's no race on there. You're not
Yep.
saying black or checking this box or nothing. So the system don't know how to discriminate.
Well, it do. It's all your social security number says black on it. So
Does it? Which letters?
it doesn't. When they run it, it's going to pull up a black female. When everyone who runs your social security number is going to show as a black female.
But do they need to run our social security numbers?
Majority of people do. They don't need to, but majority of them won't.
So if I send the electric company this, their bill back or their coupon back, signed and do everything
I
that
mean,
you
but if you already have an account, they've probably already ran your social, so they already know you're a black woman.
right.
Like,
So are we gonna face some extra biased kickback when we're
it
doing these?
won't be extra bias kickback. Just most, some of them aren't. Some of them might send it back. Some of them might say it's unlawful. I've had a bunch of weird letters sent back, but ultimately, when it came due, it happened. So it's just about knowing that as long as this is the law, you have to follow it. I don't care what you say. They're going to try to get you to recontract. I was talking to my mom earlier. She didn't pay her phone bill. So we sent it off, but we sent it off after her phone bill was already not paid. So they turned off her phone. I'm like, you should have told me this a long time ago, or you
Right.
should have paid your phone bill. I don't even know why she didn't pay her phone bill because she got the money to pay her phone bill. But so now you're either going to have to wait until the next cycle comes through where they pay it and turn it back on, or just it's you shouldn't face any. It's the law. The law doesn't have a code on it. You got to follow the law. Like the law doesn't have a code on it. So
Mhm. And are we talking about?
yeah, well, stature, not real law, but
Right.
statutes and regulations.
Right. And we didn't go over a lot of stuff because we did it earlier, like saying how these corporations are fictional people, or a person is a fictitious
Yeah, a person is
or
the definition of a person is
Mhm.
Did we lose Sean? Oh no.
Mm. In other words, we're not persons,
I mean
living souls, or
we
we're living
are, but
souls.
a person's it covers all that. Actually, I don't even know.
You probably want to use Black's Law or something. Um, fourth edition.
What was
Lawful versus legal.
this is the application, the information on how do you get your certificate of citizenship, a non-citizen national status. 18 USC 1452. That's how to do that. Let me go to.
Mhm.
Yeah, ignorance is bliss.
Not pulling it up. It's
Joe,
not
Joe
pulling it
Beller
up.
got it going on. She already know they
She
do.
got it.
They use our ignorance against us.
Yeah, a person means an individual too, but it just it's got like three or four. A person can be a company or it can be an individual. It can be pretty much
And
anybody.
so that's what I'm saying. So we need the legal definition of a person.
Yeah, you're a consumer. You're not a person. You're a consumer. I mean, you're a person too, but a consumer. That's the definition that you want to tell people. That's what you are. That's a living, breathing person that's doing it for his family. Like you're not. There's commerce and there's international trade. A consumer deals with international trade. A business deals with commerce.
I'm trying to tie a person directly to the corporation or the straw man.
Hmm.
That's what
The
I'm
straw
trying to
man is a person.
right.
By definition, it's a person.
Okay, okay.
A trust is a person. A bank is a person. Uh,
Because
Apple is
they're
a person.
corporations.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's pretty much what it is. Just if you don't know you have rights, you can't enforce them. So if you don't know, you don't
That's
know.
right. That's right.
And it's so many. They got people out here telling false information to keep people off the path too. So you don't really know like what's real and what's this from. Like if you go follow somebody, make sure they got receipts. Make sure they can show you laws. Make sure they can show you something that you can tangibly go and look up and figure it out for yourself.
And although when we was talking about the redemption manual,
Hmm.
even though there's some things you have to know while reading it, which you and I were talking about, there's also some stuff in there that we have to know, because they really are saying the same thing that you're saying, which is we shouldn't be paying these bills. We shouldn't be going to court. We're sovereign over the government, and we got rights.
Yep.
And so I would suggest, after you read what Sean told you to read, go get the books like the Redemption Manual, There's a lot of books. If
There's a
you
lot of
know my
books.
channel, I've been already reading out of a lot of these type books. I've been giving you the name and reading a chapter or two or whatever to let you know that this is a new awakening for us. You know, we fought through slavery. The rest of this shit should be easy, but it's not. So we're gonna trek on through the mud with this
Mhm.
shit. We're gonna get our grind on and get it like we're in the mud. We're gonna pull teeth with this shit, and we're gonna step you through it as we learn, as Sean's learning. Sean's doing it by
I'm
example.
still learning.
Through
I'm
the
still
process.
learning a whole lot of stuff. It's. I
Yeah,
gotta learn how to secure my account so I can get access to that 250,000. You can just literally live by opening accounts each year. So I gotta learn that. Like
and that's
it's a
another
lot.
thing. I was trying to remember earlier what I wanted to say, and that was, can you tell them the significance of that long birth certificate and the red writing on the back of your social security card?
Oh, well, when you're born, they make another birth certificate. So you get the certified birth certificate and you get the long form birth certificate. The certified birth certificate is basically showing that they registered the trust. The long form birth certificate is showing like your birth. It's going to have all the information of your family and your mother name, her maiden name, probably her address, her social security number. If your father's son, it's going to have all that on there. The birth certificates they're really just bonds. So they have a red QSIP number on the back. Same with your social security number is an account number. It's your account number at the Federal Reserve Bank. If you actually, and it won't work with all your bills, but if you actually go and Google what your Federal Reserve, your regional Federal Reserve Bank's routing number is, and then you put in your social as the account number, I paid like 2 or 3 bills with that. But they returned it because you're not supposed to have access to it, so don't expect to pay it and it just be gone. If you do pay it, they go bounce it back. You gotta do your status correction to get access to that stuff. Once you get your status correction and you get you a banker, you can get a broker, you can have all the bonds moved over. You know what I'm saying, and you can control all the money that's being processed in your name. Um, you can go to fidelity.com and you can search bonds and you can put in your social, you can put in the red numbers on the back of your social security card, you can put in the red numbers on the back of your birth certificate, and it'll pull up bonds in your name. Pretty much everything you do, they make a bond for. When you get a ticket, there's a bond made. When you sign anything, there's a bond made. There's You go to jail because they make bonds and you don't pay the bond, so you go to jail until the bonds mature. Like this is how your sentencing is figured out. Like the whole system is corrupt. And I ain't gonna say it's corrupt. You just once you learn how to use it, you become like Superman.
Mm,
For real. Once you learn how to use it.
and this money or these bonds that's in your accounts, your two accounts.
Hmm. It's multiple accounts. Your license is an account. All the 9-digit numbers you have, they're accounts. There's accounts attached to them. Any
Okay,
9-digit number you could think of,
and what happens when you die?
it goes to the state.
Can a family member go and get that
If they
money?
know what they're doing, once I get my paperwork, I'm going to get my dad's money.
Right.
I'm getting all. I'm gonna set it up in the trust, and I'm gonna set it up so it's gonna be a couple. It's gonna be a whole lot of money. I'm gonna set up
How
the
long?
trust and
How long do
pay
you
it
have?
out.
Is there a window of time that you have to go collect your dad's money?
Some type of
I,
statute of
I
limitation.
haven't I haven't had the time to like really dive into that section yet, but I know like there's the statute of limitation. It's gonna be at least 6 years. It's not gonna be less than 6 years.
Oh,
So and they're probably not gonna close it. They're probably going to continue to trade until it's free
Oh,
money.
it's actually growing.
Huh?
It's still growing
Yeah,
after your death.
yeah. They're still trading. It's still bonds. It's still everything. Like it's still going.
So take this black on black crime. These mothers who are losing their sons. are entitled to that money that they have in their accounts.
These mothers that are losing their own son should lean the fucking state.
Damn.
If a cop wrongs you and you go down to the station and report it, nothing is going to happen. If you write up a claim and you send it to their insurance, they'll be suspended by the end of the day.
Hit them where it hurts.
Hit it where it hurts. You can't work without this insurance bond. And once you make a claim, a claim against someone's insurance bond, they suspend their insurance, so you can't work until this investigation goes. If they have to give me your bond, you can never be a cop again. So it's all about just knowing the system and starting to learn. Like,
right. And we've got our work cut out. All this entertainment stuff and watching TV for endless hours, not putting.
That's the point. That's why they make Netflix and Hulu and TikTok and all that. So you will sit there, you will scroll. Sometimes I'll be sitting in bed. I'll be like, bro, I need to read, but I'll be scrolling my ass off through TikTok. You need to start reading.
Right. And how many gems do you find pertaining to the journey that you're already on? You know?
I done found a couple on TikTok.
That's what I'm saying, because they're sprinkled all over the place.
Yeah. TikTok is it's a bunch of people's opinions put together. So you kind of got to research and find out what's real and what's just bullshit. Who just decided to come up and make a video, or who's actually telling you the truth. So I screenshot stuff all the time, and I just go and do a quick research of what they're talking about.
Right.
Knowledge is power. And they used to say that, and I never really understood it, but
those are facts.
And because you're already this deep in that rabbit hole for what you're on, surely you're seeing all kinds of stuff like in our political system.
I don't even watch the news no more.
Right. But
the political system is made to make money go like this. It's made off fear. Whenever we go to war or something, everything plummets, and then the rich people buy up a bunch of stuff, then it goes back up, and then everybody else starts going, and then it plummets again. The system is made for that. Majority of the stuff that's on the news is propaganda. It's made to condition your mind. Once you get to a point that you understand that you're above this shit, you don't have to worry about it. Nothing the government does can affect me beyond like war, right? Gas you can raise gas to $10. I don't give a fuck. I'm spending your money to pay this $10. Like, money, the financial aspect no longer, beyond us going to war, beyond them putting out martial law or something like that, it just doesn't concern me at this point anymore. Joe Biden he's a manager. You don't even have control. You're a manager. You manage the United States. You don't own the money. You don't even really have the money. They pay you. You got a paycheck. How you own something and you getting a paycheck?
Okay. Shawn, what kind of advice you got for people who go to school and pay that big ass college bill?
Just to get rid of your student loans. Watch the video, get rid of your student loan. I did it. I did it. Do it.
Okay. Wow. That's it then. Shit. Get rid of it.
Just get rid of
it. Discharge it, right?
Yep.
Put that negative on there and get it back.
Assign it to them. Release this interest. Take care of it. You paid for your schooling anyways. It's already been paid for.
Right.
The money for your school and that $100,000 is being held in escrow. If you don't claim it, it goes to trillions of dollars of the public debt. The public debt is all money that we the people haven't claimed.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Ooh, you're gonna be writing some books later on in your life, son.
I'm gonna buy those books.
It's like I'm trying to get to a point where I can, because I realize there's ways to do it outside the system and there's ways to do it inside the system. So I do want to get around some of the smart people that's doing it inside the system, like self-made millionaires, billionaires that's done it the hard way. So I can find, because I watch a lot of Robert Kiyosaki stuff, and he give a lot of jewels about how to use debt to avoid pretty much everything. That is tax-free money. So he's doing kind of what I'm doing it, but he's doing it differently. So it's just fun to see how different people take the information and apply it to their lives.
Mm. All right, so we're all on assignment then.
Hmm.
When you want to come back, what you want to see? When you come back, what you want to see from us? You want questions lined up? You want
Yeah, just go rewatch this video and
Slowly.
do the process. You know what I'm saying? And watch it a couple times, and then like the next video, I'll just answer any extra questions that we have, and then we'll go over a couple other ways to get rid of some debt.
mm-hmm.
Because there's a right to rescission. That's a good one. That's
Okay.
a real good one. So
Well, the brother was, very, very thorough with his information. He brought his receipts. We greatly appreciate you, brother. We just got over the 2 hour mark, so
mhm.
we appreciate all the information. Before we even decide to do anything, does anybody else out there have any other questions? I mean, Alicia asked if you're a Moor, study more science.
I'm not. I got tired of paying bills. I got tired of paying bills, so I was just let me read some shit. I hate reading. I can't stand reading, but I mean you got to, so I do it all the time now. That's I read all the time and I hate reading. That's crazy, but I mean
Most
So,
definitely. And shout
right.
out to Empress Salima Ellis. Expect a great video, a great build within the matriarchs tomorrow, which she will be one of the matriarchs that will be coming to share her insights. So peace and love to the Empress, to the goddess herself. Can't wait to hear the build tomorrow with you guys and the other four sisters that are going to be joining us. So I appreciate you for taking the time to listening to what Brother Sean is bringing.
Yep. And thanks again, nephew, for being a great person and an extra great
um,
nephew. This hit us like what? What? I called Taz right away. I said, you know what my
it be that
nephew
way.
said? I said, my nephew got those answers, man. Like, you gotta go live.
When I found out about this, I was outside screaming, top of my lungs. I wasn't mad, but I was. It was just. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Every decision, most people, every decision they make is about money. Like the job you're in, the career you picked, all that's about money. What
And
decision that you make if
it's
you
gotta
don't?
be the journey you're on has gotta be fun too.
It's it's
Watching your
exciting.
debt disappear with the
It's
stroke of
just
the pen and
it every month gets a little bit more exciting. Like every month something
right.
new comes up because I'm actively studying and learning too. So like just every month it's just something new. I'm
So
just waiting until I get these birth certificates and I get a hold of this money. Then I'll start doing videos on the beach in Italy and shit like that.
this is the Mona Lisa. I
Yeah,
just bought this bitch.
I just bought it.
Oh my goodness, Sean.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
have a question before we leave because I was thinking about it all night. Well, this was something that you and Sister Yassini and I were building in private about, and you mentioned the fact that eventually the IRS is not gonna exist anymore, and you told us in regards about a bill that is out there that was passed, that is going to enforce this
Of course,
to occur. And what's going to happen to the straw man once this money is no longer being exchanged like that? Is the system going to completely collapse? Should we take advantage now before it's too late? What
I
do
mean
you?
everything is gonna stay the same. Like you won't pay income taxes, so the only thing that will be different is if you don't spend money, you won't be taxed on that. But the sales tax is going to go up. So everything is going to be more expensive. You're going to have to end up paying more. If I can get this to pop my screen up.
Oh, my bad, my bad, my bad. Go ahead.
No, oh, okay. It was all right. So want to get it somewhere where you can read it good, because that's gonna make it kind of. All right, we'll just go. It's a Congress law was passed in 2019.
Yeah, that's the one that I was reading when you mentioned it, and the shit that's in there, brother, is like
It's
mind-boggling.
crazy.
It's
It goes through and it talks about how income tax is messing up the economy and how it's messing people's lives up, and it's just a bunch of stuff. And then it goes through and tells how they're getting ready to stop funding for the IRS, and by I believe it's by 2025 the IRS should be gone. But they have 7 years to repeal it. So it's already it got put in on 2019. So the
so if
income tax
it's not repealed, it's not a question of if it happens, but when it happens.
when it happens. Hmm.
Okay.
Once it happens, they'll have like 2 years after it happens if they want to repeal it. But I don't think they'll repeal it. I don't think they'll repeal it. I mean, the Congress would have to repeal it because the president can't fuck with anything Congress is doing. So Congress would have to repeal. This is a Congress law, and I'm thinking there's a good chance Trump is probably gonna get back in. And even though Trump is a racist and all this other shit, I don't really necessarily fuck with his character, but he's a businessman. He runs the country like a business, which it is.
Mhm.
If you had a business during the Trump administration, you came up. If you didn't have a business, then you was talking about, oh, he sucks because he made it easier for people to get access to money, but you had to do it a certain way. So
Mhm.
to me, every president sucks. So
I
Right.
just don't those are true facts, brother. If you had a business, even if it was a small business during the Trump administration times, motherfuckers came up.
motherfuckers
One this
came up.
idiot doofus got in, and not that I like Trump any better than the other, because it is one coin, two sides, two
Yeah,
faces.
y'all both suck. You just he's
They're
smarter than you. He's smarter than you. You older than him. That's
right.
the difference.
But I mean, but facts are facts. During
Hmm.
the Trump administration, a lot of shit was different. A whole lot. People with small businesses were making money. The gas was at its lowest. I made a post on.
PPP loan, people came up off the PPP loan. Even
Oh
even the scammers came up off the PPP
man,
loans, right?
listen.
He made a lot of money available to people. Just average people didn't really know how to get access to it, so you didn't benefit from it. It's
Everybody and they mama went and got them a PPP loan.
you know
Mhm.
because it was easy. All you had to do was have a business. You didn't even have to be in business for any length of time. You just had to have a business, and you can apply to get 100,000, $1 million. And
So, I'm sorry to jump off subject, but it seems to me that back in the days where we actually had something of value to trade for, like gold and silver,
hmm
and we comparing that to what we have now, which is basically fiat. They really didn't need your gold or silver to start this system that they got going on with money.
I mean, they did because everything has to be done by consent. So they have to get you to agree to the system.
Mm.
So in order for this system to work, we had to willfully turn over our gold and our silver. We had to agree to it. Everything is consent. You have to agree to be bound by the system.
In the way that money's supposed to work, now
Hmm.
that we know by talking to you, that wasn't bad though. That wasn't bad, and the fact that the gold standard isn't there anymore, it actually was never bad. It's like the corrupt people that
Hmm.
made the whole financial
The
system.
system works perfectly. The system works how it's supposed to. It's just they used to kill black people for reading because if you found out your rights, then you couldn't be a slave anymore. It had nothing to do
Right.
with you were black people were slaves because they didn't know the rights that they were given per the Constitution, and they murdered you to keep
Choice.
you from learning this. Like,
Yes. Our people
Do you think
suffer.
you mentioned the fact that if you got reading, you were killed because they didn't want you to know how the system actually worked. Do you think white folks knew what a regular
Billy.
Karen or
I
Kevin.
think there's the one percenters, the real rich people. I think they know how the system works. Everybody else, I think they know a portion of how. Because, like I said, in each code, there's like 2 or 3 different remedies. So if you get like this, you get this code. Now you don't have to pay bills. Everyone's life who watches this, their life should start going up because you no longer have to pay bills anymore. So it just goes. So once you figure out one piece of it, then you just automatically start going up. Then if you figure out 10 pieces, it's even better. So most people study to become rich. So once you get access to what you want, the average person is not going to continue to educate themselves. The average person is going to stop.
Right.
So
Right.
but when you listen to people like Mark Cuban, when you listen to people like that talk about stuff, they read multiple books per day. They read hours per day. They're always reading. They're always learning. They're always studying. They're always taking someone else's course to see if they do it a little bit different or if they can connect some dots for them. Like it's just you got to get on the path of just always learning. That should be your job, especially when you don't have to pay bills anymore. Why continue to work? Just educate yourself and find out how far you can really go. Like, what can you really do? I read Regulation CC of the banking code basically states that if you write a check for whatever amount, I could write $100,000 check. I could give it to a bank with no money in my account. If they take this check and deny it and give me the check back, they give me the value back. I can then take this check and go deposit it somewhere else for the $50,000. It's crazy, like the stuff that you can do, what the banks are required to do for negotiable instruments. You don't know if you write a check and it bounced that check still has value. It still has value. You could technically they're not supposed to any check. Your check should never bounce. But if you don't have your account set up right, it says in the laws that they have the right to charge you overdraft fees and all this stuff because your account isn't set up right. So once you set your account up right, it's negotiable instrument. Once you give a negotiable instrument value, that negotiable instrument carries that value, regardless of if this bank accepts it or not. This check that I wrote for $50,000 is worth $50,000. You just got to get the knowledge to know, okay, so I sent it and they sent it back. Now what do I need to do with this check to get the value from it? Do I need to send it to the treasury? Do I need to send it to the comptroller? Do I need to send it to their CFO? So then this becomes, you got to figure out the process of, okay, they denied me something that they're not supposed to do. So now how do I get remedy from it? Like it's just a lot of the knowledge in these laws. You don't have to work. You won't have to work. You never have to work.
There's a portion like if I pay my credit card bill late,
Mm-hmm.
or let's say I don't have the money in there and I got it set up so they can just recurring payments. Recurring
Mm-hmm.
payments.
You should never do recurring payments.
Okay. And I see why. Because if for some reason
You're giving them the liability to take your money, and you don't have to pay your money, but you're giving them consent to pull the
and
money
so
out.
that's why I will ask you, is that legal on their part?
I'm so
You gave
glad
them
I
consent.
never accepted those fucking terms because
You
they
gave
did
them consent.
that shit lately.
Consent performance is also consent. So if I say that I'm gonna pay you $60 and you come cut my grass every 2 weeks and you start cutting my grass every 2 weeks, we don't have to have a contract. Your actions are the contract.
Okay.
So it's all consent. You consented to them taking it out your account. So it's legal.
Right. And then they're gonna hit me with a tax because the money wasn't there. They're
Mhm.
gonna try to hit me with the late fee too, but
Mhm.
technically that's not late because there's a
So if
period of like 15
the
days.
contract you signed, it's gonna have all that in it. It's gonna have all that in it. So before you sign the contract, study contract law, change that shit, cross it out, change it. This is
They're
what I want the
they're gonna
contract.
not accept it.
Hmm?
They're gonna not accept it.
They've already gave it to you, right?
What?
They've already gave it to you. You've already accepted. They already offered it. Well, by handing it to you, they offered you something and you accepted it, right? So when you fill it out and you hand it back, you offer it back to them. When they take it, they accepted it. It's UCC.
I'm saying, but they're not gonna want to take it back if they see that I changed
If
it.
they don't want to take it back, they need to return the contract to you because the contract is value. You can take that contract to the bank and get the money. Once you sign it, it's value. If they keep the contract and we're not going to do this, and they keep the contract, they're going to get that money. They're just not going to tell you about it, and you're going to walk away from your money that you gave them because you don't understand what value is. You don't understand what a contract is. So once you give someone value and they accept it, the obligation is there now. Now they have the right to be like, I don't want to accept this, but then they have to return the instrument back to you, and then you just take it somewhere else. Like once you start digging into the Uniform Commercial Code, you'll start understanding the difference between. I tried to find offer and acceptance, I couldn't find it, but you'll understand what offer and acceptance is. You'll understand what value is. You'll understand what you're doing when you're handing them a contract. Once you give them the contract.
Why? How come people with bad credit, if it works the way it's supposed to, meaning they're just gonna go into one of your accounts and get that money and do what they do? How come? What do they care if your credit is bad or not? Why not just everybody who applied give it to them? You're just going to get it out of my account anyway.
Because everybody don't deserve credit. The system is set off of what you deserve. Like if you want rights and you deserve rights, you're gonna get them. If you don't, then you don't deserve them. That's how the system is set up. What you don't know will hurt you. If you don't know no better, then damn, you fucked up. Like,
oh my goodness.
That's how it's set up.
For the motherfuckers in the back that didn't hear this shit. God damn.
Keep it simple, Shawn.
For real. The system is this. Hey, what you don't know will hurt you. So just try to educate yourself. If it's too hard for you, try to find somebody else in your circle that can get it and talk to them, because it's knowledge is power.
Are you seeing your credit score stay stable, or is it moving up? Is it moving?
My credit score dropped. My credit score was like a 411, just because I stopped paying my bills. Like before I had this information. I mean, it'll be a 750 next month, so I'm not tripping. Like I'll be damn near 800 next month, especially once you. Okay, so I'm gonna drop two crazy gems. So all right, so
drop it.
There's this thing called a CPN, which is it's basically a credit privacy number. You can create your own social security number and use it to interact and to get credit cards and to get all this different stuff. Now, if you Google credit privacy number, they're going to tell you it's illegal, but it's not illegal. It's only illegal if you get debt and you don't pay it. A lot of people were getting these numbers and they were getting cars, $150,000 cars, and not paying the debt. Then it becomes legal. So as long as you use it like it's your normal social security number, you can make your own completely different social security card. Now, on top of that, there's a thing called zombie debt. Zombie debt is banks sell their debt to collection agencies. Collection agency has a certain amount of time to collect on that debt. After that certain amount of time, they can't collect on that debt anymore. It becomes zombie debt. It's just sitting on their books. You can purchase that debt and you can assign it to your credit report as paid. Instant credit. You want to buy a yacht? You can purchase zombie debt on a yacht and put it on your credit report as paid. And now when they run your credit, it's going to show that you paid off a yacht, even though you never paid a yacht. You probably paid $5,000 to get $4 million worth of debt on your credit. So credit is manipulatable. Credit is, you can manipulate your credit. Like credit is not hard.
Now we're talking law versus legality.
Legality, the CPN it comes out of the it's a loophole that comes out of the I can't remember, it's the Fair Debt Collection Act, I believe, but it's just a loophole. You have the right to privacy. They gave you the right to privacy. Technically, it's illegal for a company to make you give them your social. They can't force you to give up your social. So out of a legal loophole, You can make your own social. You got to make sure that this social, no one else has this social, but you can make your own social. Yeah, do what you want with it. I'm not telling you to do it. But if you do it and you get in trouble,
No,
then it's
I
on
know
you.
exactly
So
what you're talking about.
all liability that you take under, if you don't know how to discharge it and you take it and they come for you and you don't know how to tell them not to, then I know what I'm doing. So, but
You,
credit is easy to manipulate. Credit isn't hard by any means whatsoever.
You said it best, brother, when you said knowledge is power and ignorance is bliss. So if you don't know, don't get into something just on some, oh, man, that sounds good. I want to try it because, because your ignorance and yourself is not going to be the system that's going to tackle you down. It's not going to be the boogeyman that's going to come and get you. It's going to be your goof ass, the one that's going to get you in the wrong fucking places
Yep,
and going to do the wrong ass shit. And
yep.
then you're going to look upside your own head like, God
Got
damn,
arrested. Going
who
around telling people I lied to you and stuff. Don't listen to him. He
whose
got me. No,
finger
I didn't tell you to do that shit.
who am I going to point the finger at now so I could take away the responsibility that I'm supposed to gather from it because it was your own actions, But you all
Mhm,
we always want to point the fingers. We
mhm.
always look into it was his fault. He did it. Oh, I did something wrong. The devil made me do it. Oh, but you did so great on your thank God. Thank God. All praise be to the Lord and shit. We always giving either the praise or running away from responsibility when it comes to all that shit. We need to get off that shit and start accepting fucking
Yep,
responsibility. You either a grown ass motherfucker or you a child. And if you're in a child man state, stay the fuck in your place.
yep. Well said.
Right.
Better myself. Well, fuck said. That's this whole thing is about. It's about competence. Like you got to understand what you're doing. This part is easy, but this is just a small part of commerce. Like you need to get competent with commerce. You got to understand what you're doing and how you do stuff. Understand that credit is payable immediately. Find out how to make it payable immediately, and then you don't even have to sign these contracts. You go in and sign it and drive off with the car. You'll never hear from them again. But you actually gotta read and study and find out. It's an act that governs everything. It's a law that governs everything. Anything you can think of, you can Google law that governs this, and it'll pop up.
And so, to those of you in the chat, if you want to get your questions ready, he's coming back, and then we can like spend the whole time, or at least give us an hour or so, where he can specifically answer your questions.
Mhm.
Because, like I said, he want us to know this. He's giving us everything he got. He's doing it by example, so can't just he's not thinking or saying I think this should work. He already knows that it's working.
Do it.
So
Yep.
this gives you time to watch this video over and over again. Go share it with your people. Get your questions written down. Shit, who else is doing this? Yeah, come on. Let's get rid of this debt. Let's start learning shit. Let's start getting together on the rights that is ours. We always wanting some more rights and shit. What about the rights we already got?
Mm-hmm.
Let's use those. So,
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's coming up on 3 hours.
yeah, yeah, we're gonna let you go. We appreciate you so much.
No
So
problem.
we appreciate
So
you.
with that said, we're gonna close it out all together. We appreciate the family for joining us. It's been 2.5 hours. We are going on 3 hours already. So last words, brother. What do you want to tell the people? Will we see you again? And we're enjoying the journey. We appreciate you so much for dropping the information and the jewels you do. Because most people would tell you, well, I'm gonna go the first hour, but if you want the rest of it, you gonna have to come to my Patreon to go get the rest of the information and pay me because I gotta get paid. It's always about a come up. A motherfucker
Always
always
about to come
trying to
up.
come up,
I
always
feel,
trying to come up,
the
but
way
they
I look at it, the information is free. Now, if there's something that you want me to do, like I need to come to your town or we need to sit down or something like that, then it might be a charge on top of that. But
man, you
the
gonna have
information
to
is free.
provide airplane tickets, a hotel stay, or a place to stay. We gonna need a vehicle.
Dinner.
brother, so he could move the fuck around. Your vehicle does not count, family. You gonna have to if you need this motherfucker to come to your shit, he gonna need a vehicle. And
And
listen.
that's where you can find them right there.
If you paying all these other motherfuckers for some information on a motherfucking website or in a Patreon, yeah, you finna buy rent a car to make sure that brother Sean is mobile when he come to your place. You know, and we like the Marriott, you know, or the Hyatt. All those are more than welcome. You know, so
All of them. They're more than
all
welcome.
those are more than welcome. Get your shit together. You know, if you want private fucking lessons and all that shit, you know,
That's
you
right.
paying all these other motherfuckers or worshiping all these other motherfuckers. Yeah, don't shit change. It ain't shit different over here neither. You know, because you get
Mhm.
like you said,
But right
information belongs
now,
to everybody. But
and
if you
right now, you're only gonna find Shawn Sims on the Tazz Show or Yahsinni in the house. That's
no,
it.
definitely. With
Yes.
that said, much love and respect, brother. Please hit his cash app, money sign pay with saws. We greatly appreciate you, and we're gonna leave you the same way we came to you guys.
All right. All right.
Peace,
Peace.
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 peace and love.
Peace and love.